Boom. I think I got 1 year too. Yeah, well, I've been here a while myself. You guys are making me feel insecure. Hey Dan, what's up? What are you at, Dan? How long have you been here, Dan? We're just comparing length of time of being here. Lucky 10 Luck. What up, dude? 15 months? Oh, look at that. Proof. Where's the proof though? Dan just threw out a number, but I didn't see any proof. Omnixar, what up, dude? How you doing, man? It's a tier 1. 8 months. Thank you, sir, for the tier 1. 8 months. He's been here for 8 months. All right. It's been a while since I streamed, so some people are logging in right now and they're like, oh yeah, my sub has defaulted or whatever, ended. And as soon as they come in, they're like redoing it. So we're seeing how long everybody's been around. Invalid username, what's up? Okay, hold on a second. I have a new type of coffee I'm trying out for the first time. I gotta redo that drink. And evaluate and see how it is. Okay, so let's talk coffee. I wish Danny were here. She would appreciate this discussion. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have a coffee conversation here as we're waiting for the stream to begin. I just do what the boss tells me to do. He hasn't told me to begin yet. So basically, I went to the store today. I do that from time to time when we're running out of meat to put on the grill, because we're gonna be doing that on Sunday because I ran out of meat today and I need more. So I saw this at the store. Little guy wants his belly rubbed. Ed, you can come here and get little guy whenever you want. He is a pain in the butt. We're gonna have to get a full-time employee to rub his belly. I saw this right here at the store today. Donut store blend. So I always look at the coffee when I go to Aldi, and I was like, what's new? Is there any, because I really love mint mocha. So I always look and see if they have any specialty seasonal crap. And I saw this, and I've been seeing this for a while. And I was like, what is that? It sounds so dumb. It's like donut store blend. And then I was like, that sounds dumb. And then I was like, wait a second. What if it tastes like donuts? What if it's coffee that tastes like donuts? Because it's got pictures of donuts on it. And it says donut store blend. Okay. So I go over there. I'm like, all right, we gotta see what this is all about, because this looks interesting. There is potential in this coffee right here. So I go and pick it up. I look at the back, and I'm like, okay, blah 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 blah. There's nothing relevant there. And then, okay, whatever. And then this is right here is what I was reading, and it's not gonna focus too well. Sorry. This bright and nutty coffee showcases notes of caramel and hints of chocolate. Chocolate. The blend has medium body and a slightly sweet finish. Okay, so I was like, chocolate, because I love mint mocha. It's one of my favorite coffees. So I was like, chocolate, that's good. Nutty, okay, so that sounds like hazelnut or something. So a little bit of like hazelnut nuttiness with mint, with chocolate, and then caramel, right? So I was like, okay, that actually sounds interesting. I might just see what that's all about, right? So now I'm testing it. This is my first time. I think I might sense a little bit of chocolate. Just a little bit of chocolate in it. The caramel and the sweetiness, no, I got nothing. There's none of that in there. The nuttiness, I don't know if there's the nuttiness in it, but maybe my palate is not like super like nutty sensitive. I don't know. But there's a tiny bit of chocolate in it. But if I weren't paying attention, if I weren't actually thinking about it, I would never notice. So we're just gonna Put that over there. That was a great experiment, but I don't think I sense what was marketed to me. It's got wonderful pictures on it of donuts, though. I appreciate that. Adroit Conceptions. We're gonna go back to our start screen. Adroit Conceptions. Thank you for the Prime. I appreciate that. .com52. Thank you. 52. Yeah, I want everybody to key in on my mispronunciation of the number 52, so you can make fun of me. .com52. Thank you for tier 1. I appreciate that, dude. We have a level 2 hype train going as well. Yay. Wee. Lucky I will stick to my soda. Soda? We drink pop where I'm from, son. Drink your pop. SG Amen, what up, dude? We have a hype train going. Yay. If you want to, by the way, since you guys are all like doing stuff, if the tipping right now, the tipping is going toward the Capital Area Humane Society. So I have a tip goal bar down below. When we get to 500 bucks, I will donate a bunch of money to them, like all the money. There is no 90% administration fee. Just everything I can raise through tips will go to the Capital Area Humane Society, and my moderators have linked a bunch of that crap in the chat there for you. What was I gonna say? It's just the tips, guys. It's not subs, it's not cheers, because I don't want to raise money for Twitch. 50% of your subs and cheers go toward Twitch. I'm not raising money for Twitch. I'm raising money for the Capital Area Humane Society. They're basically they're the Humane Society near where I live is what they are. So they help dogs, cats. They do like spay and neutering clinics where you can do that, get that done for your animals super cheap. They adopt, you know, they take care of cats, animals, they place them with homes, people can adopt them. They do a bunch of good stuff, you know. So that's it. That's what we're doing. So if you want a tip right there, boom, there it is. Jay Mara, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs gifted. Thank you, appreciate that, dude. Our hype train is now at level 3. Can you feel the hype in the house? Are you excited? Are you hyped up? It's still good coffee. I mean, it tastes good. It's not bad. I like it, but it doesn't taste like what the package tells me it's supposed to taste like. That's all I'm saying. BG, what up, dude? Walnut coffee. Yeah, I've never tried that before. Goliath Cleric says, I'm a professional cat petter in real life. I have 3 cats and one of them loves belly rubs. Yeah, that's little guy. Little guy loves belly rubs, man. Dark roast, rawmonkey. Okay, so rawmonkey brings up an excellent point, and I cannot help but agree with you, dude. So this is actually like between a light and a medium roast. I love the dark roasts too, like French. What is it? French roast, I think is what it's called, is like one of the darkest you can get. I love the dark roasts because they are so incredibly bitter. Oh, they're so good. So my preference is dark roast too. But I'm also a sucker for flavored coffees, and you usually don't find flavored coffees that have a dark roast. They mostly have a medium roast. So I'm kind of like in an impasse with that. You know, so I pretty much just buy the pretty pictures. If I see pretty pictures, that's what I buy. So I just gotta go to my 2-year-old self. When I'm faced with indecision and a difficult choice, I just do what my 2-year-old self would do. Oh, that's a shop from your homeland, Leonard TB? So, whoops, that's the wrong screen. So I'm assuming, so this is from Barismo. This is from Aldi, which they are, I mean, their corporate offices are in Germany, I believe. So does that mean you're from Germany, dude? I don't know where this is made, but I know Aldi and what is it, Trader Joe's? Those guys are both, I think their corporate offices are both in Germany. I get like 90%. We get 90% of our food from Aldi. dude, you guys, I went. Here's my shopping story. We could just probably start this up. Hey, here we go. Okay, so today I went shopping. I went into Aldi, and then bought all of the groceries we needed for pretty much the week. You know, all of the meats for our cookout, all of our vegetables, our fruits, all that good stuff. My mandatory beef jerky that I buy every time I go shopping, because at Aldi it's $4, which is way cheaper than anywhere else. I got all of that stuff in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. You're just like, there's only 4 aisles, and you don't have to choose between different brands. You just grab what you need and go. You're like, boom, 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 boom. We're done. Whee! 30 minutes. You save money. You're in, you're out, you're home. It's beautiful. You know what? Yeah. I'm not getting paid for this sponsored message. It's not actually a sponsored message, I guess, if I'm not getting paid. Anyway, yeah, it was beautiful. I couldn't help but notice how quickly I got the shopping done. Of course, then I went to Meijer, which is a larger grocery store, it's probably similar to like a Kroger or something, only a bit bigger. And that took me a half an hour too, because I just beeline for what I need and I get the crap out of there. But there was a lot more walking involved. Not that that's a problem, because I could use walking. J Mara, thank you for the Prime. Appreciate that, dude. Mr. Gorks, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And Sly Wolf, thank you for the 10 tier 1 subs. So, woo! Really piling those guys on there. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Twitch appreciates that too. It's making them some money. I don't like Twitch. My moderators are not gonna like me. I don't like some of the things Twitch is doing right now. They are ignoring. Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into that right now. But I'm not happy with some of the content that Twitch is allowing on their platform and how they are not doing anything about it. And it makes Twitch as a whole feel really sleazy for the stuff that they allow on their platform. So I'm not super happy with Twitch right now with some of the things they're allowing. I'm just throwing that out there. I know my moderators are not gonna like that, because they don't like YouTube for moderating. They will probably ban me if I speak out. Okay, Twitch, goodbye. Guess what? Guess where? I'm just gonna go to YouTube, where my primary audience is. Twitch, you morons. I'm literally working my butt off to bring my audience here for live streams. So if you want to like ban me, whatever, you morons. It's stupid. The only good thing about Twitch is the moderator controls. Okay, so since we're on the topic, by the way, we are doing Q&A tonight. So hello, welcome. I'm Luke. Yep, DM layer live stream. Yay. Woo. We are doing Q&A tonight, so you can throw your questions into the chat. My moderators are grabbing your questions. They're putting them into a spreadsheet, so they are not lost. I know I'm like off topic talking about weird random crap right now, but I promise you, we will look at your questions and we will answer questions tonight. I swear to you, I will not spend 2 hours rambling about bullcrap that very few people care about, only to then breeze through your questions in a super rapid fashion. I would never do that to you. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so Twitch, good thing Twitch isn't a DM, because you never dare the DM to do anything. Oh yeah. Well, Twitch doesn't really care about its streamers, especially if you're as small as I am, so I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah, I will be fine without Twitch. I'll just stream on YouTube. I don't make money on Twitch anyway. It doesn't matter. It's just like, it doesn't matter what platform I stream on, you know? What was I saying though? Oh yeah, so the two things that I don't like about Twitch, they condone by allowing 2 different types of streaming content that I think are not good. The first one is the gambling stuff. Like, it's all over the place. Like, people who are just doing gambling on their streams. I think what they're doing, I haven't really watched any of them, I just know of their existence, which is also true of the second category I'm gonna mention as well. But they basically just go on there and they're just streaming and gambling and winning tons of money and stuff, and that like just pushes people to do the same thing and lose their money and crap, and it is not good for society. It's a very, 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 very bad thing. So that's the first type of stream that is rampant. Well, I mean, you know, it makes Twitch a lot of money, but it's not good for society. It's not helping people or anything. And the other one is all of the, I think they refer to them as the hot tub streams, but it's based, or it could be some of the ASMR stuff, but it's basically the over sexualized content and stuff that is just rampant all over the place. Not doing good things for our society, for folks and their relationships and marriages and stuff. So just not overall good quality content. So we have a couple big categories of very, very, very bad content that they just are like okay with. So it doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzies about the platform is what I'm getting at. So yeah, just putting that out there. Anyway, we can probably do some questions now. rawmonkey, have you seen some of those streamers? You're probably talking about the gambling ones. I haven't. I should really actually go in there and actually kind of look at some of those and see what's going on there. But yeah, it seems like they're pretty prevalent. Yeah. Mr. Gorks is like, Mr. Gorks was joking around. I saw your comment, Mr. Gorks, before it got deleted. I know you were joking around. You're right. Yeah, you're straight, dude. Okay, let's pull my spreadsheet. We'll start looking at some questions here. Bum, 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 bum. I gotta find it. Where am I going? I'm going to Google Drive, and there we go. Q&A spreadsheet. Got it. Mad Dog, thank you for the 8 months. I love your content. I've learned so much from you, dude. That's awesome. Thank you so much, dude. I say it every time somebody thanks me for my content. I say the same thing. I'm happy to help, but it's true. I'm very happy. Iron Lord says, so glad I found you. Yes, dude, thank you. Iron Lord, you're like a regular. Yes, there's a bug flying around my face. I'm happy to have you around here too, dude. Dude, seriously, what is this thing? It's big too. I'm gonna be swatting at this the whole stream. All right, if I'm just like going like that, it's some bug trying to kill me. Captain will be good. Thank you for the prime, dude. I appreciate that. All right, I've almost got the spreadsheet open. July 23rd. There we go. July 23rd. Whee! Can you have a campaign with little adventures and no overarching story? So I don't know what little means. I'm assuming that the adjective little is intended to say like a short adventure, right? Where it doesn't last too long. Like it might just last like a game session or something like that. And there's no overarching story. You can? Ugh. Okay, so yes, you can. You could do that. I feel like the pitfall, the danger that comes to my mind if you're having very short adventures and there's no overarching story or like campaign plotline arc that's happening, you got one thing that's going on right off the bat. You risk that game feeling like nothing more than a string of encounters. A bunch of different random encounters that have been strung together. So the players could feel like, well, there's no overarching storyline. There's no big tragic thing out there that needs to be dealt with. We're really just going along in the game world and we run into this little problem. It's okay, we get into a fight, that's over. We go over here, here's a random, everything's gonna feel random. It's gonna feel like happenstance. Like there's nothing really bigger going on in the game world. They're just kind of going around, doing stuff, looking around. They run into a little thing here, there, and there. It's all gonna feel kind of random because it is random. If there's no overarching thing going on, then everything kind of is random. And you're just having short little adventures, they're gonna feel just like little tiny things they run into. So I feel like that doesn't have to feel that way. There's probably a way to do that so it doesn't feel that way. I don't know how to do that offhand. I feel that's gonna be the hardest thing, is to make it feel like it's not just all random little encounters they run into. Because some players are going to be satisfied with just rolling dice and fighting stuff or talking to things and just wandering around the game world with no larger goal in mind than the next encounter or the next little tiny adventure. but many players, probably most players, want something more in the game. You know, they want some sort of larger thing that they're trying to work toward and accomplish, or some larger villain or a larger problem in the game world. They want they're looking for something more than just kind of wandering around doing stuff, you know. That's the feeling I get. I haven't surveyed every player in the world, but just from experience, it seems that most players are looking for something more than just a string of random encounters. Generally, the feedback I've gotten from players is that random encounters feel pointless because they don't progress the plot. They don't get us any closer to solving the big problem that's out there, you know, which means that they want progression in the plot. They want to get closer to solving that big problem, which kind of, if you infer from that, then that they want there to be a big problem, you know. So those are my thoughts on that. I would say you could, it'd be very challenging to do that and have it feel like a campaign. It would just kind of feel like a bunch of random encounters that you just roll up or string together or plan. You know what I mean? I think that's the big channel. That's the big challenge with doing that. Is there a physical copy of Layer magazine? No. However, where is it? Where's that button? There we go. It's been a while since I streamed. Currently, I am tentatively planning to do a Kickstarter probably in January of next year that will literally be for people who want a physical edition of Layer magazine. Right now, I can't print off physical copies of the magazine. It's not a viable business model right now, every month to be doing that. And you need way more lead time than I've already baked into the process. It would be a unsustainable business model at this point. However, what would be a doable thing is every year in January, offer to those who want as a Kickstarter. It would literally be the previous year's worth of everything in Layer magazine. So you're going to get all of the adventures. There's 2 adventures per magazine, per issue. So that means you'd get 24 D&D adventures, which is enough to take you from level 1 to 20 easily, if not more. And you would also get probably, I don't know, over 100 monsters or something. We have new monsters in almost every single edition. I bet you we would have close to over 100 new monsters. There'd be like probably 100 new magic items. They're all the different things, you know. So the idea would be Kickstarter January, and then and that wouldn't be in one book. You couldn't fit all that content in one book. That would be a massive book. We would probably split it. I don't know how we would split it up. I haven't really thought through it a whole lot. We would probably put all of the adventures in one book and call it an adventure anthology. The monsters, they almost got to go in that same book because the adventures reference a lot of the monsters. So I think those got to go in the same book. Some of the other content, though, could probably go in separate books or something. And then the idea would be that you could choose which books you want to get. I haven't totally thought this out. This is still in the ideation phase, you know. But it would be, because I've been asked before, people who want the actual physical, they want a physical book. Understandable. I love physical books. If I'm using content, I get a physical book. Always, because I want that physical book. So I get it. So that's my thought. And then basically we have a Kickstarter, and literally the way to get the physical book is to be on the Kickstarter, and it's offered via the Kickstarter, and that's your shot to get it, you know. And we could do that every year, you know. Every year, here you go. If you want the physical book, you do it at the Kickstarter. And the beautiful part about that as well is that we would be able to have fairly quick turnaround from doing the Kickstarter and then fulfilling that book and that product. Because with my current Kickstarter, Into the Fae, we did the Kickstarter like last year. What was it, August or September? And then we had to finish writing some stuff up. Then we had to do playtesting, and then we had to commission artwork, and then we had to do right now we're in layout and design, and we're just finishing that up. And then we got to go to printing, and then we got to go to fulfillment. But with Layer magazine, since all the content's already made, you know, we pretty much can just send that over to the layout folks and they can lay it out into the books like we want. So we would cut out a massive part of that entire process and just be able to get people the content pretty quickly. So that's kind of like what's turning in my mind right now. The other thought would be to do like a continuation of Into the Fae. That of course is way more work, much larger project. So I'm almost inclined to try out the printed version of Lair magazine as the Kickstarter for folks who want to get the printed version, you know, and then see how that goes. I some point in the future we're probably gonna do more, because the End of the Fae took you to level 5, so maybe people want to go a little bit further with that. So that'll probably happen at some point, but don't know exactly when, because that's a crazy amount of that sort of project. That's a lot of work. Not that I'm opposed to work, but I got a lot of stuff going on right now. Lots of stuff going on. Yeah, that's true, Goliath Cleric. Because the printed version of Lair magazine would, most of the work's been done of getting the content ready, and it's really just me sending it over to people for interior layout and design. So the time requirement on my end is less, of course. So that would make it, just from a project management standpoint, that would make it far more palatable. I spend a lot of my time as a project manager, guys. That's for the DM Lair. What I do, like, a lot of my time is project management. So and that's a complex job, very, very complex. And you got multiple people working for you, doing things, you contractors, employees and stuff, and all this, and then people you commission to do different work, and coordinating it all and making sure it all comes together in the proper time frame and stuff. There's a lot of moving parts in that. So the reducing the project management part of it would be huge, you know, for Lair magazine, and you know the content's already written, so that makes it a lot easier too. So Into the Fae and then escaping the Fae. Nice. Penguin Butt says yes, very time consuming, very complex. Penguin Butt is also, so she works for me and she also does lots of project management for me too. So yes, she can speak from experience. Yeah, NFIG, that's a good idea too. You do the End of the Fae, printed End of the Fae each year, and then behind the scenes there's something else going on, which would be a larger project like Escape from the Fae or whatever. Yeah, that's actually not a bad title. The premise, because End of the Fae, a lot of End of the Fae takes place on the material plane, and the Fae are there, and you're like discovering what's going on. And then toward the end of Into the Fae, you actually start to go into the Fae plane, as opposed to being on the material plane. But you're not like really in the Fae plane all the time. An interesting premise of a continuation of that, though, for the second module could be Escape from the Fae, where the premise is you have been trapped in the Fae, and now you're there the whole time, and you're dealing with stuff, right? That is an interesting premise. Yeah. And then you got to get out. I like that. That's pretty cool. I kind of like that. Anyway. Trademark Escaping the Fae. I don't think anybody's written that. DR34M01. Thank you for the tier 1 sub, dude. I appreciate that. The Shadowfell. I like the Shadowfell too. All right. If a player finds a bag of holding on a monster or in loot, not buying one, what would be your ruling if they turn that bag of holding inside out? I mean, doesn't it say that everything just falls out? I would say everything falls out. Everything that the monster had put into the bag would just fall out. That would be my natural inclination. I mean, I could look up the magic item and see if it talks about it. Listen, if the magic item literally tells you what happens, then that's what happens. if it's a gray area and it doesn't say, then I would probably rule that whatever's inside just falls out. Boom, you're done. That's what I would say. That seems to be the most logical thing that would happen. Of course, if you're putting a bag of holding on a monster as loot, you should also put some stuff in it. I gotta see an orc, an ogre with a bag of holding. He's got like, you know, a half-eaten sheep in there, some rocks, you know, some moldy bacon. I don't know. He's got some good stuff in there. Delderithiathian, hello, what's up? How you doing? More 5e resources for the Shadowfell. Well, there's the, what is it called? Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, which is like different domains of dread. But if just Shadowfell, yeah, you don't have a whole lot. However, it was one of the monster manuals listed a whole lot more. It was more than 𝐑𝐄𝐒𝐿 Tome of Foes, I think. It lists a whole lot more creatures that are from the Shadowfell. Ed, you're onto something. Yeah, but dude, that's just the way companies work, you know. When you have somebody who's super influential at a company and at a certain position of leadership, you know, what they like determines the direction the company takes. That's just the way it works. You know, like at my current company, the senior management likes people to be in the office. They don't like people working remotely. And so you're seeing an influence. Now people have to go back to the office. You know, I don't know how long I'll last there. I'm like negotiating with my wife. I'm telling my wife, I'm like, let me quit my day job. Please let me quit. And she's like, no, you need to stay there. She's like, we get bonuses in March or something. She's like, you need to stay there until you get your bonus. And I'm like, but I don't want to stay there. I don't want to be there. I want to just work full time here at home on my business. And she's like, nope, you got to stay there and get more money. I'm like, but you don't understand how painful it is. And they're going to make us go, we're going to have to go back to the office 3 days out of 5 days. So they'll let us work remotely for 5 days. You can understand, you guys, when you work remotely, you gain about 3 hours a day back into your life. That's the thing. That's the thing that I think employers don't understand. Employers want collaboration and culture, and many of them want to keep their eyes on you so they can make sure you're working. Filling up, getting those 40 hours in. A salaried employee. Hours mean nothing. So they want the collaboration, the culture, all those things. They don't understand. Employees have learned that when you get like 3 hours back into your day, the commute to work, right? The lunchtime and stuff, when you get 3 hours back into your day, there's a lot of stuff you can do with what's 3 times 7? 21 hours a week. 21 hours a week. Do you know how productive I've been on my business with 21 extra hours a week? Holy crap. I have done a Kickstarter. I have launched Layer Magazine. I'm now doing 2 videos a week. You can do a lot of stuff with 21 extra hours a week in your life. And employers just don't get that. They're just like, we want you in the office. And employees are like, yeah, but you're stealing you're taking the only resource that I have a finite amount of. Most people can make more money, but you can never make more time. You can't get time back. And they're asking for 21 more hours a week. When we, for the last year and a half, we've been accustomed to how many hours a week? Yeah, and now you want 21 more? You want to increase our work time by 50%. So instead of 40 hours a week from us working, you now want 61 hours a week, is essentially the proposition they're giving us. For all intents and purposes, that's the math. And yeah, we don't want that. Nobody on my team. And here's the thing, I work on a development team, software developers. Our team has been rock stars the last year and a half working remotely. We have exceeded business expectations. Our customers are happy. We're getting all the stuff done ahead of time in some cases. We have very few defects that escape and get into production or anything. We're doing an amazing job remotely, 100% remote, over the last year and a half, above almost every single other team in my stinking IT department. And yet, despite the proven track record of working remotely, we're being told we have to go back to the office. And we're like, get your heads out of your butts, man. That's basically what we're all pissing and moaning about. Anyway, sorry. That had nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons. And then I was had a meeting with the director, and he was telling me, he was saying, we value the company culture, and stuff like that, and working in the trenches together, getting to know each other face to face, and these things are relationships that we build and all that kind of stuff. And he doesn't understand. Those are things that the company might care about and stuff. Very few employees care about. We work at an annuity company. It's an annuity company. We're essentially, annuities are horrible for the most part. They're bad finances. They're just not good. They're not good. It's a bad product. We don't care about the culture. We're here because you guys give us great benefits and stuff. And the relationships, we would rather build relationships with our children, with our wives, with our animals, with our friends. We don't care. We don't value those things. We value our time and our freedom. And they're pitching all of these reasons that come back to the office. They're trying to get us to, they're trying to like make us okay with it. They're not gonna win. We understand what's happening. We know. We're friggin' educated professionals, man. We're software developers and crap. We're not stupid. We have brains. It's not gonna work. To a certain extent, they are trying to micromanage us. Here's the cold hard truth. Some teams have been failures working remotely. They are disasters. They are not doing well. They haven't been doing well for the last year and a half. Those teams probably do need to be back in the office where management can keep an eye on them, because they have proven that they can't be successful working remotely. But those teams aren't going to admit to that and be like, yeah, we should be back in the office. Some teams are responsible enough to get their crap done at home, working remotely and stuff. But we're just getting a blanket solution of everybody back in the office. And here's the other thing too. Senior management it's top-down management. They have their opinions on things and stuff. HR has their little opinions on things, and there's little surveys about how, yeah. So anyway, it's yeah. We have like, I don't know, antiquated suits calling the shots, let us say. Luke, I won't spend 2 hours talking about random stuff. 10 minutes later. Hey, it was only 10 minutes. You got lucky and triggered a free one. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at a D&D question. I answered that one. Whee! If you might be able to tell that I'm not too happy about returning to the office, nor is my team. We're all very upset. Anyway, so my wife is like, just please stay there till we get the bonus. I'm just like, I don't want to. I'm so very close. The business is so very close to not needing my day job. Like we're right there. We're right there. And I just want to pack it in. I can't tell you how badly. I'm hoping part of me hopes they fire me for some reason. Here's the problem though. I literally just had my mid-year review with my boss, and it was like a glowing review. It was like, yeah, you're doing great. All these different categories, blah, 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 all these things. It's all just like, it's great. You're doing great. It's awesome. It's amazing. Well, I'm not going to get fired that way. And I have like probably too much integrity to do something to actually get me fired. No. Oh, it's so painful. Because if they fired me, it would just take the decision away from me. I wouldn't have to make the decision. It's made for me. Which modules suck and which ones don't? Yeah, I don't know. I don't run modules a whole lot to answer that question. Thank you for the red coloration, moderators. It brings that to my attention. I really don't run modules a whole lot to be able to tell you. I read them. I read portions of them. Here's the thing. You cannot determine whether a module is good or bad by reading it. You can't. You need to play it with a group, and then you'll see whether it's good or bad. And here's the other thing. A module is going to be good in the hands of one dungeon master and horrible in the hands of another dungeon master. That's the fact of the matter. Some DMs they just aren't very good, maybe, or they just run the module poorly, or I don't know, etc., or whatever. Another dungeon master is going to run the module amazingly. So mileage is going to vary so very, very much. You know what I mean? And then you can say, well, which ones are interesting? Which ones are fun? You know, or which ones are interesting, have good story and plot hooks, plot lines, and stuff like that. You'd be like, well, okay, so everybody has different personal preferences. Everybody finds different things appealing and different things unappealing. So what are you gonna? It's like, I might look at Curse of Strahd and be like, wow, I love that. That's so cool. I have a player who's like, one of the reasons I don't like Curse of Strahd is that we know what's gonna happen. Eventually, we have to fight Strahd, but we can't really do anything about it right now. So it's like we know what we have to do, but we can't do anything, and that's a frustrating point, you know. So yeah, it's so hard to say what's a good module and what's a bad module. It really is, you know. Even if I play through them all, it would still just be my experience with them. Now I can tell you, we can talk about design, we can talk about balance, so there are some things that tend toward being more what is the word, objective as opposed to subjective. So we could evaluate modules based on objective measurements. That is possible. That's what I tend to do, I think, in my videos, the ones I actually put out about modules. I make objective remarks about them as opposed to subjective ones. There's always subjectivity involved. You can't get away from it. But yeah, it's just so subjective, you know. All right, let's keep going. I'm currently working on getting a beekeeping business working because I'm fed up with my job. Whoa, scrolling too fast on me. Because I'm fed up with my job. I'm learning fast, but beekeeping is tough. Lost all the bees in my first year. Oh man. This year I have the opposite problem. The bees are producing so fast I have to rush to keep them from swarming. Swarming is when they pop out a new queen, right? And then part of the hive like swarms to reestablish a new like hive. Is that swarming? I am not a beekeeper, but that's what I thought of. How close am I? How close was I? Was I close? Was I a little bit close? Yeah, look at that! Woo! I have beekeeper potential right here. Nice. I know nothing about beekeeping. The trick of course is don't quit your job to pursue. In my opinion, there are lots of people who just quit their jobs and then try to do their thing, you know, and they might be successful, possible. But ideally, you keep the day job, pursue that business, that passion on the side with your time that you have remaining, build that into something that's sustainable as far as income goes, and then you ditch the day job once you have enough income coming in that you know that your bills are paid and crap like that. And here's the other thing too, downgrading some of your crap in life could help make that small income more sustainable. The cars, the houses, the stupid junk that we have that maybe we don't want or something, if we downgrade our lives a little bit, we might be able to ditch the job we hate to do something that we're more passionate about. So that's a route too to consider, to try to make that side passion that makes income but not quite as much as your day job, to help you ditch the day job, decrease expenses by, you know, downgrading your life, so to speak, I guess is how I would term it, you know. Because we have so much time in the day, you guys. You know what? Statistic. I heard this a couple weeks ago. I haven't confirmed it or anything, But what I heard was that the average person watches something like 6 hours of television a day. It was something like, let's look. How much TV does a person average amount of TV in a day? I want to confirm this. Average TV watched per day. Let's see what this says. 4 hours, more than 4 hours. According to Nielsen Company. Okay. 4 hours of TV each day. So the average person watches more than 4 hours of TV a day. 4 times 7, 28 hours. 28 hours. That's a lot of time to work on a side hustle that could replace the job you hate, you know, but it takes work. Most people are just too lazy and don't want to do it. They'd rather watch TV and they're exhausted. Here's the trick. In my opinion, here's the trick. So your day job starts at 9, let's say. Okay, you get up at 4 and you do your work first for your side hustle first thing in the day when you're fresh, before you go to your 9 to 5 and get home and are exhausted and can't think properly, and the only thing you want to do is go to bed. So that's something to consider. Give your passion your best when you're fresh. Now, of course, I can do that in the morning. I'm built that way. Some people, maybe you can do your 9 to 5, and then when you get home, you're fresh at home and you can go at it. But I'm exhausted by the end of the day and I don't want to do anything. So it doesn't work for me. Some people might be different. So you can watch YouTube at work. Working for retirement. So I was talking to my wife about, I swear we're going to talk about D&D sometime today. I was talking to my wife about the traditional retirement. It's 3 days ago. No, we went for a walk. When did we go for a walk in the park? We went for a walk in the park together on Wednesday. So it was on Wednesday. We were driving to the park and she was talking about, you know, keep working at Jackson. Oh, okay. So that you can, you know, save for retirement and stuff too, and all that kind of stuff. The money saved for retirement and stuff. And I was telling her, I don't think I really believe in traditional retirement. You know, like, think about it. So you sacrifice your best years of your life working your butt off. You get to be old, 65 or something, and then you retire. You retire from your job, and then you have all the time in the world. But do you have all the energy in the world? You know, it's like you have your best years of your life when you could be doing stuff and you don't, and you wait until you're old, relatively speaking. Some people are getting close to that and they're like, Luke, don't call me old. Sorry, it's relative. Age is always relative. And then you retire. There are so many people I know of that they retire and then one of two, it's like it's like they retire and they're bored, so they get a retirement job, or they retire and then they die because they're just like got no reason to live anymore or something. I don't know, man. So or a lot of people can't retire and they just have to keep working. So I was telling her, I'm like, you know, I don't know about that. I would rather like take little mini retirements or mini vacations throughout the year and enjoy life right now. Like, instead of like waiting to retirement to go travel and do things, why don't we do a little bit of that now? We don't have to take a week off or 2 weeks off. We could just go over the weekend. We could travel over the weekend. We could go to a place for a couple of days or something, you know, or just spend time together or something, or go for walks in the park or something. You know, it's like I want to look for ways that I can enjoy life now and not delay it until some indefinite point in the future, a time which may or may not ever come. Like, I might not make it there. I don't know. My dad died when he was 50. Like, I might not make it there. So I'm going to amass a bunch of wealth. I'm still saving like a madman for retirement. I have my 401k and IRA all maxed out, so I'm not being financially stupid. But at the same time, it's like, so I'm just going to amass a pile of wealth that I may or may not ever get to use. I should probably think about enjoying life now too. I'm not talking about being financially irresponsible and doing stupid crap, you know, because the world's gonna end tomorrow kind of mentality, but, you know, responsibly, wisely, you know. So that's what I was telling her. Like, I don't know about this whole retirement thing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. My college for my daughter, if she wants to go to college, you go to college. Go to community college, get a job, work your way through college. Don't be dumb. Dude, I swear, when I was in college, I had more free time than I've ever had in my entire life. I had a part-time job even. I had so much free time in college. It was amazing how much free time in college I had. It's amazing how few of your classes you actually need to go to and still get a perfectly fine grade. Oh. I should scroll back and chat a little bit. If you can work from the hotel room, what does it matter at night what you're doing? Yeah, that's one of the things I was like. I was telling my wife, I was like, with working remotely, we could literally go on a vacation, travel somewhere, and I could just work during the day, you know, and then at night we go do stuff. That's a possibility. When you have a remote work agreement, you can totally do that sort of thing. Yeah. 𝐑𝐄𝐒 says, I would rather enjoy life while I'm young rather than wait to do anything until I retire. Yeah. Hence why I've seen more of the country and the world and experienced more than most people 50 years. Yeah, dude. Yep. Mr. Gork says something about his beer. Yeah, if you're gonna go to college, I wouldn't put off going to college. Nixon's like, what is this retirement? Pegman says, no, we're not, Luke. We're going to just hang out today, aren't we? I haven't hung out with you guys all for like 2 weeks. Is it, or has it been 3 weeks? I think it's been like 2 or 3 weeks or something before you've had a live stream. I like hoppy beers, like IPAs and stuff. Hoppiness. I love that crap. I eat that crap up. My wife hates them though. I love one of my favorite things about a beer is like open it up, taking a drink and being like, oh, the hoppy deliciousness. And then passing it to my wife and being like, here, you got to try this. And she's like, no, it's horrible. I'm like, come on, it's not that bad. Try it. Come on, come on. And then she'll take a sip and she's like, ah! I love that. I don't get into wine. It doesn't do it for me. Yeah, I just don't care about it. All right, D&D. Adjudicator TV. I'm a new dungeon master and I am planning a large battle for tomorrow, which will destroy the main city my players have been working out of. Do you have any recommendations for making my players panic? Yeah, I think you got it covered, dude. You're destroying the city. Like, holy crap, the city's gone. It's just going to be in your narrative description of the different things that are happening, dude. If you have a force that's moving in that's going to destroy the city, then you just describe it. Use your words, you know. If it's a horde of orcs, you know, black swarm of orcs swarming over the hills or something. I think it's just going to be your narration and the different little details you pick out. You need to pick out specific things. You obviously know what's destroying your city. You need to pick out specific things that are going to happen, that invading force or whatever it is going to destroy the city, natural disaster, whatever. Pick out specific things that you can then narrate and describe to your players at different points in the game session. You know, as this is transpiring, you want to have different things you can describe to them that you feel will invoke a sense of panic and terror. You know, it might be a combination of two things: something horrible happening, but also some sort of urgency and like a time down or like a countdown where it's like something bad is happening and there's pressure on us to do something really quickly, you know, to either prevent that bad thing or escape with our lives or something. So you might be looking at those sorts of things too, to try to pick those out and put them together in there. Yes, exactly what Nix has said right there. Walls falling, being pushed against by the rushing crowds in panic. Yes, all that kind of stuff. A solitary child clutching its doll, crying and crying against a wall, you know, and then the crowd rushing over it, and then you don't see the child any longer. Like, I mean, you can go to dark places, you know, and then they'll be like, holy crap, wow, this is real. Or you might not want to go that dark. I'm running Curse of Strahd right now. we just had, dude, my last Curse of Strahd episode, we had a game session. I had this doll that was using a needle to prick out the character's eyes, and then one of the characters got his eyes gouged out by this doll that came to life. It was nasty. Oh man. My players were panicked and terrified. I need more coffee. We're back. Mommy, oh, it's time to look at the cats. Time to look at the cats. Mommy is stretching over here. Mommy, look at that fluffy, adorable belly. Oh man. She's so adorable. Look at this adorable belly. This is a great time to mention that I'm trying to raise money for the Lansing area, capital area Humane Society. It's a humane society. They help animals. So all tips go toward them. If you're interested in helping out and doing any little something, my moderators will drop a little. There you go. Thank you. There are some links. Stream Elements dropped the links there or something. Anyway, there you go. All of my cats have been neutered and spayed by the Capital Area Humane Society. They do it for a very reasonable fee to help folks out. So trying to raise some money for them. All right, I'm getting coffee now.
Mommy's so adorable. She's got a big fluffy belly.
I currently have 4 cats surrounding me. There are 3 on camera, and Squirty Pie is over here. She always sits over here now. It's her favorite spot. Hello, Squeaky. Oh, the cat strike. Oh, you know what? It is 7 o'clock. We actually should do a cat strike. That is a great point, Ed. Thank you. Let's see if we can do a cat strike here. Hey, I want to show you guys something. My new cat treat box has a screw lid on it. So it is 100% cat proof. Like, yeah. The cats cannot get into it at all. But like almost every day, well, not every day, but almost every day, Squeaky still tries to get into it. He's like tipping it over, he's pushing it, he's doing all this kind of stuff, and he cannot get into it. He's used to the old one that sometimes he could get it to come open, but not anymore. Not anymore. Well, I've got the basement kitties, but I can't get the pasta kitties. I don't know where the pasta kitties are.
What do you want, Squeaky? Quit being a baby.
There you go. Oh, I'll be right back. All right. The cats have finished up their treats. Was everybody good? Dradu, thank you for the raid, dude. Appreciate that. Welcome, folks. We're talking about very important D&D stuff today. Yeah. All right. Any old school settings like Greyhawk ever pull at you? No, not Greyhawk. Nope. Are they in the past is where they belong for you? Oh, are they in the past is where they belong for you? No, not at all. I think that's a stupid mentality. Just because something is old school or old, saying that it belongs to the past and it shouldn't, that's a dumb mentality. So yeah, I definitely don't ascribe to that. The Dark Sun has always been interesting to me. I mean, I've played in Forgotten Realms for the longest time. Forgotten Realms is one of the earliest settings made by Ed Greenwood. That was his home campaign group or whatever. So I mean, that's pretty old school too. So I've played it in Forgotten Realms, but I've never played in like Greyhawk. I've never read anything about it. I mostly just played in Forgotten Realms. Now, yeah, so now I love Eberron. Eberron is amazing. I don't think that's old school though. I think that's probably newer, but I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know really the history of a whole lot of the campaign settings. I just know which ones I like and which ones I know nothing about. How generous should you be when it comes to giving out consumables and resources like healing potions? P.S. You are the best. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. I tend to be more on the generous side with consumables like healing potions and scrolls and things like that. The reason I like consumables a lot is that they have a limited ability to permanently influence the power level of the characters. So you can give them healing potions and scrolls and all these types of things. Now, scrolls for wizards are pretty good because they put them in their books, right? But other than that, the things are like single-use stuff. So if you give your players boots of flying or winged boots, that will permanently affect the game. But if you give them 10 healing potions, that doesn't permanently affect the game. It affects the situations in which they use them. The other reason I love giving out, especially healing potions, is I like to run challenging games that have challenging encounters where the players get the crap kicked out of them a lot. And so I want them to have the healing potions because it helps. I mean, it helps me justify it's twofold. It helps me justify the challenging encounters because here I gave you healing potions, but also it's like, as the players are getting the crap kicked out of them, they're like, well, we do have a bunch of healing potions. Of course, at later levels, they have so much money they can just buy as many as they want anyway. So I feel like I tend to be probably more generous with the consumable stuff. I do tend to be stingy with the permanent magic items though. In my games, early levels 1 through 5, 6 or so, 7, you're not gonna get a whole lot of magic items. Once you get to level 8, 9, 10 and beyond, then the magic items start to come in. And that has to do with in the later game, 8 and on, magic items don't influence power level of the characters quite as much. So they don't cause such a disruption, you might say, in the game from a balance perspective. In early levels, they're much more influential. And they have a much more a greater impact on the power level of a game. Later levels, not so much. In fact, what I've found, I have a group right now that has quite a few very powerful magic items. They defeated a dragon recently and got some very nice magic items. They don't use them that often. Why don't they use them that often? Here's a thought. One, they forget about them. That always happens. It always happens. But the other thing too is that their characters are also getting access to some very powerful abilities, especially the spellcasters. And so they have to choose between using their magic item, which is really cool, or casting that 5th level or 6th level spell, which is really, really good. And a lot of times they go for the spell. So you tend to see magic items being less influential in the game at higher levels. And because of that, I feel more just I can give them out freely. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, there's some theory for you about hoarding magic items. Oh yeah, Staff of the Woodlands. I handpicked your guys's magic items from that dragon. I intentionally wanted to give you guys some really good items because it was so challenging. That encounter was so nasty. You're welcome, John. No problem, dude. Oh, okay, yeah, the dungeon fog. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I don't use dungeon fog anymore. most of the people that do maps for me, that like either go in Layer Magazine or go in map packs, they use Incarnate. Like, I think some people might use Dungeon Draft, but the majority of them seem to use Incarnate with good results. Nobody that contributes to Layer Magazine uses Dungeon Fog. You wouldn't get as good results. You just can't with that software. And it lags online. Sometimes your map gets too big with so many nodes and you can't even do anything. The whole thing freezes up. It's just, it crashes. So I no longer endorse, sponsor, nor recommend that program for reasons previously stated right here. You can, Dan. If they still have that up, you probably can. I don't promote that anymore though. that's another like, so this is like a business thing. That's why I don't do commissions anymore. Like, I just say 100% no to any commission work, because that right there is an example of something that I'm supposed to be getting commissions on and haven't heard from them in a couple years. And I'm too busy to track companies down to see if they're being honest with me about commissions they owe me. Not gonna do it. So so I don't do that crap. It's like, if you want me to promote, first of all, for any sponsorships that I do, the product has to be good. It has to be something that I'm willing to put my name behind and recommend to you. And we've turned down several companies that have wanted to give me money. And no, I'm sorry, your product is not good enough. I am not recommending these to my followers and stuff. So it's got to be a quality product. But I don't do commission work. There's no stinking way. It's money up front, and then okay, here we go. But yeah. So anyway, that brings up raw memories of a commission agreement that was not satisfied by the other party. Yeah, not happy about that stuff at all. Oh yeah, you got your wife this? This is supposed to be my daughter's mug. So check this out. My wife's sisters came up to visit. They're from, like, one was from Central America. They're all from Central America, but one lives in Central America, one lives in LA, and one lives in Miami. All three of them came up to visit us and were here for quite some time. And one of them brought 3 mugs. One for my wife, one for my daughter, and one for me. And apparently my mug is supposed to be a Mickey Mouse mug. That was the mug that was brought for me. This mug was supposedly brought for my daughter, but I have requisitioned it. I have annexed it. It's mine now. I use it in my barbarian. My barbarian usually has it next to him in the videos, and I use it. So yeah, it's my mug. It's like a squatter's right. I'm always using it, and my daughter isn't, because I'm always using it. Therefore, it becomes mine. Captain will be good. Yeah, it says your streams seem to teach me as much about good business as D&D. I love it. I mean, it's only what I do, right? It's just what I've learned from my own experience and stuff. But I also read / listen to tons of businessy type books by business people. So I listen to lots of business books too about different theories and different things and stuff about business as well. So some of it comes from book knowledge, education, things I've learned through books. The other of it comes running a business for like 3 or 4 years or something, you know, and then growing that little tiny nugget of something into a business that, you know, is at the cusp of being something I can do full time. It's almost there. It's almost there. Yeah. So yeah. So when I share business information and stuff, like it's from experience. A lot of it is, you know, and some of it's from the hard knocks, you know, the things you learn along the way where it's like, oh, that didn't work. Not doing that again. Or some things will get proposed to you and you're just like, nope, never doing that. That is a logistical nightmare. I've done stuff like that before. That is a nightmare. I will never put myself through that again. Thank you very much. So you guys know that I have had the Dungeon Coach, Alan from the Dungeon Coach, on stream before, I think. We've done collaboration videos together. He and I are buddies. We talk all the time. He has this program called Marco Polo. It's an app. Stupid phone. I've ordered a new phone. I have a Google Pixel 4a 5G phone that is supposed to be arriving. And I swear to you, when that phone gets here and I get the SIM card put in it so that it works, I'm gonna probably put this phone out on the concrete and smash it with a hammer. I hate this phone so much. It's a cheap LG phone. I mean, I shouldn't expect anything from it. It literally won't recognize my fingerprint now. Notice how I'm hitting it against the table. I'm like, come on, you piece of crap. Why won't you work? So he and I have this, it's this app called Marco Polo. It allows us to talk to each other with video, just back and forth and stuff. And this is our channel right here. This is the Dungeon Coach, the DM Coach. So these are messages. So Alan from the Dungeon Coach and I just constantly talk back and forth, mostly about business stuff. And we're just talking about business and Kickstarters and Patreon and all that kind of stuff. Just sharing our information back and forth. In fact, it was the whole idea of offering a patron PDF, which then became Layer Magazine. That was his idea. That's something that he shared with me in November of 2020. So like, you know, not quite a year ago. That's something that he shared with me back then and said, Luke, this is huge. There's some other people doing this and it's really working really well for them. And he actually became a patron of another creator who was doing a patron PDF. And I'm not going to say who it was because then he shared that PDF with me and he's like, Luke, look at what he does. It was like 5 pages of something that we could put together in like an hour. He's like, look at what he produces. This is all he does. And then people become a patron because of this. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's garbage, dude. Like, I'm a professional writer. I know, like, dude, we could totally do something way better than, like, I mean, me, not he and I together, but I could totally do something way better than that. And he's like, yeah, I know. So he's been publishing, he calls it his DC playbook on his Patreon, which mostly has like homebrew rules and different things, you know. He has a Kickstarter too. 𝐑𝐄𝐒's Almanac of all things. Moderators, could you find his Kickstarter and put a link to it in the chat? It's still going on. There's a little bit of time left in it if people want to get it. But it's basically a 5th edition rules expansion. You can get additional rules around different things. It's doing really well too. His Kickstarter is doing way better than mine. He did so many, like, this is one of the things that we talk about. He did so many things for his Kickstarter way better than I did. I literally told him, I'm like, dude, the next time I do a Kickstarter, I'm literally going to look at the different things you did for yours and I'm going to copy some of them. And he's like, okay, sure. I'm like, you did so much better. You were so much more intelligent and you planned this out way better than I ever did. So, okay, cool. Throw that in there, Zach. Appreciate that. So anyway, he and I talk about these things, you know, and it was his idea to start doing the Patreon PDF, which became Layer Magazine. And that's the thing that has allowed my business to like get to the point where I can almost go full time. So I owe that dude a lot. So he and I, anyway, the point is he and I talk back and forth about business all the time. things that work, things that aren't work. You know, we'll talk about Google ads and crap and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, it looks awesome. His Kickstarter, go to that Kickstarter page. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. All right, let's get a question. I've been so delinquent in answering your questions, you guys. I'm just so excited to be here and talk with you. Sajia, thank you for the Prime. I appreciate that. How you doing? I'm pretty sure the name sounds so familiar. I think I know you on Instagram too or something. That name sounds so very, very familiar. Heads up, the stream is buffering a ton and it's affecting both us and the rest of the chat. Not sure if it's your end or Twitch. It is 100% Twitch because I have, how many dropped frames do I have? Right now I have 3.2% dropped frames. So it could have done that recently. I didn't notice it though. So it sounds like it's probably Twitch. Right now I'm totally green right now. So please stop reposting questions. How much of a tip do we need for a double stream tonight? What, you just want me to go longer? You want me to just go longer? I don't know. You see, I'm trying to raise, where is this? I'm trying to raise money right here for the Capital Area Humane Society to help cats and dogs and animals and stuff. I actually give them every single month. I have an ongoing reoccurring donation that I personally give the Capital Area Humane Society. And so now I'm trying to take some of what I do for like D&D and crap and give them some money as well. So I don't know. Okay, trying to get some money down here for these guys. You want to go 6 hours? I don't know. That would be really hard, dude. I'd have to eat somewhere in between there. I don't know, Zach. Convince me. This is the typical negotiation tactic. So negotiating 101. Don't mention numbers first. Let the other guy mention the numbers. Always, always, always. Once that first number has been mentioned, it becomes the benchmark by which the rest of the conversation is what do you want to call it? Based upon. So you don't want to be the one that mentions the number first. Captain Will Be Good says, loved the Barbarian guest host stream. Oh, I remember doing that. I did that a while ago. That was like a year and a half or something ago. And I was just being the silly typical barbarian. I ended up offending somebody too. Imagine that. Imagine Luke was offensive. I'm probably one of the most offensive people that does what I do. I just don't respect all the horse crap out there. All right. Any suggestions on modifying a monster in the monster manual to make it a boss? Yeah. Yep. I tried to recently and ended up way too wussy. Yeah. Action economy is the biggest thing for boss encounters. Action economy is huge. If you're just looking for making a boss more difficult or challenging and interesting as well. So legendary actions are big because that's action economy, and minions. Those are the two biggest things you can do. The two very best things you can do when you're modifying a monster in the monster manual and giving them interesting things they can do. Give them when you're looking at legendary actions, I would say two things are important to look at. One, legendary actions that do damage, obviously, but in an interesting way, make it sound cool and be interesting and thematically fit with the monster. But also you want conditions. You want to have them be able to do things that apply conditions to the players. So they are restrained, they are prone, they are deafened, they are blinded. Different conditions can be absolutely horrifying and challenging to them. I have an entire series of videos on my YouTube channel called How to Create a Perfect Boss Encounter. and you can search for it on YouTube and find it. How to create a perfect boss encounter. There are 2 videos. And there's more to just creating a satisfying boss encounter than just modifying the monster itself. There's a lot of other elements that go into a boss encounter. So I would recommend, I'm not going to recreate the wheel here. I would recommend going checking out those 2 videos, and you're going to find the information delivered in a much more succinct manner than I will probably do it here, and you'll get all of it. So yeah, I would recommend that. Ed Robinson, thank you for the $10 tip. I appreciate that. Ooh, look, the bar is changing. It's a little bit of blueness right there. Immunities, yeah. Immunities. Hit points. I would before you you need enough hit points that the boss can survive long enough, obviously. Minions help with that because players focus on minions as opposed to the boss. But big stacks of hit points just make battles take longer. I would prioritize increasing damage output before I prioritize hit point increase. They need to last long enough, but a battle with a monster that does tons of damage is terrifying. Trust me. I have the biggest reactions I get from players is when a monster does tons of damage and they're just like, holy crap. After 1 round, I'm almost dead. It attacked me twice and I'm almost dead. That's terrifying. And they know they have to deal with that. And then it has legendary actions. That's terrifying. It induces a little bit of panic and nervousness and gets them thinking and collaborating and figuring out how they're possibly going to beat this thing. You know, so that's something to think about. Now, when the monster doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it has tons of hit points, that does not induce panic. That just makes them roll their eyes and know that this combat's going to take a long time because it's got a lot of hit points. There's no real risk to us because it can't do a lot of damage. We're just going to drink healing potions and heal each other and stuff. But it's got so many hit points, or its armor class is so high that this battle is going to take a long time. And that's just going to make the battle more boring as opposed to making it more like exciting, you know? So that's something to think about too. The doll. Yes, that doll. That doll. It was just murderizing Stefan. Poor dear Stefan. Oh, here's the thing about that doll too, you guys. For my last Curse of Strahd game, one of the other players, I think it was Eyes, played by my friend Joe. He took that doll from this happened like several game sessions ago. He took that doll. There was a room that was literally filled with dolls, all of the same person in the game. And he took one of the dolls and he put it into Stefan's backpack. Because Stefan was terrified of sleeping in that doll room. And then, because they had to sleep in that for 1 night. And then I took notes in my DM notes that Stefan had that doll in his backpack. And my plan was to do nothing for several game sessions to let them forget about the fact that Eyes had put the doll into Stefan's backpack. I wanted them to totally forget about it. I wanted to wait like a month or 2 out of game. And then I was going to do something with it. I didn't know exactly what, but I wanted to do something with it. And so the idea of having the doll come to life and literally in the middle of the night, you know, have Stefan wake up to see this doll on top of him, you know, that was kind of what I was planning on doing. And then I figured out the details around it. So that was, yeah, that was a couple months or 3 months in planning, waiting for them to forget about it and then for me to implement it to truly terrify them, you know. It was awesome. He lost his eyes. He had his eyes gouged out. His eyes are gone. He's a spellcaster too. That is crazy for a spellcaster to lose your eyes. I don't know how they're gonna fix that. He might have to get a familiar. He might literally just have to get a familiar so that he can look through the familiar's eyes or something. Yeah, but familiars die so quickly. It's gonna be hard. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Eric says, I laughed so hard when the doll attacked them. I remember Eyes putting it in his backpack. It's so funny and horrific at the same time. Yes, yes. I love taking something small like that. Players are goofing around or they do something or something happens. and then just being like, okay, filing it away, and then later on down the line pulling it out and being like, yay. It's one of the things I like doing. I think that, I don't know, it's fun. There's probably some like nice poetic beautiful words you can say about it, making it feel like a living dynamic game world where actions have consequences and stuff like that, you know. But it's just fun too, to take something they did a while ago and then just pull it out and be like, hello, remember this? Yeah, it's back. I do that a lot in my games. It's fun. I enjoy that. Yeah, but regeneration is like an 8th level spell or something. Isn't that like six? It's pretty high. It's pretty high. I mean, I'm okay if they figure out a way to heal him. I mean, I don't want him to be blind as like, this is your punishment. That's not my intention. If they figure out an intelligible way to do it, I'm fine with that. I'm not trying to oppose them. I'm just putting challenges and terrifying obstacles in their way. All right. Any tips for running my first virtual tabletop game on Roll20? I'll tell you what I did. I went on YouTube and I typed in, you know, how to use Roll20 or something, and then I watched some tutorials. Taking 20 is a YouTube channel, and he has some quite older videos that are essentially tutorials that show you how to use Roll20. So if you go to his channel, you can find a bunch of tutorials. They're old videos. You got to scroll way back, or you have to search for them. But he's done tutorials on them, and I watched several of his tutorials and learned a lot about how to use Roll20. And then prior to the game session, I just went into Roll20 and I practiced and worked on things that I knew I'd have to do during the game. And then I ran the first game session, and it was probably very rough, and I didn't know how to do a whole lot of stuff, but that's life, because hey, that's the way it works. So that's my tips. Do something like that. Is Morning Canaan's good? Anything that has more monsters in it is good. Do you want to know? Okay, you know, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Before you buy Morning Canaan's Tome of Foes, before you buy Volo's Guide to Monsters, might I humbly recommend you get these books right here, Tome of Beasts and Tome of Beasts 2. You guys, these are way better. These are these monster manuals. There's a link on my store. Do my Amazon store. I'm pretty sure I have these on my Amazon store, so people can. If I don't have them on my Amazon store, I'm adding them right now, because Tome of Beasts and Tome of Beasts 2 are way better, light years better than Morning Canaan's or Volo's. Why? Because they just have bunches of monsters in them. And the monsters are better, and I'll explain why in a second. They don't have like half of the book full of lore, and I liked the lore. I liked the lore in Volo's. That was useful lore. Tell me about orcs. Tell me about beholders. Tell me about mind flayers. Tell me about goblins. That is useful lore that I can use as a game master to run my games. Morning Canaan's, you're telling me about halflings and elves and all these different races. That doesn't really help me a whole lot. Now, when you tell me about the Shadar-kai, okay, that helps. You know, because that's actually a monstrous race that I'm going to use. When you tell me about the Dwerger, okay, that helps. But all the rest of that stuff was mostly in there to entice players to buy the book, in addition to Dungeon Masters. It was a pure marketing trick, in my opinion, and it wasn't super useful for me. So anyway, let me see. Is it in my store? Where's my storefront? It's !Amazon. !Amazon will probably put the store up there. Where is my storefront? I want to make sure it's on here. I need to have these books in that storefront because I recommend them now whenever the topic comes up. Amazon storefront. There we go. I want to make sure I have these books in here. D&D books I use. Yes, I have them in there. They're the first 2 things listed. Okay, perfect. Yeah. I also very strongly recommend Arbiter of Worlds by Alexander Macris. Excellent book. Holy crap. I just finished reading it And I not gonna lie, there's gonna be some videos with some of these ideas in it because it is an amazing book. Not everything in it is applicable. He feels like an old school dungeon master guy or game master guy. So not everything in there is going to be something you necessarily want to use in your game. Use your brain, evaluate whether it's applicable or not. He talks a lot about a sandbox and what I would call a hex crawl type of game. And maybe you don't want to run that in your game, but a lot of the other stuff in there has nothing to do with that. And it's amazingly awesome. So anyway, definitely recommend that. But yeah, I have Tome of Beasts and Tome of Beasts 2 there. And the reason I like them a lot, you guys, is a lot of the monsters that Wizards puts out, they tend to not have a whole lot of special, interesting, cool stuff they can do. They tend to just have hit points and do damage. Not all of them. Some of them have spells and special abilities, but the special abilities, the things they can do, sometimes just kind of lack that punch. You know what I mean? But these are big books, you guys. These are big books. So I haven't gone through all of them, obviously, but the ones I have looked at have just been amazing. Like, I'll read the monster, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I have to use this. That doll for my Curse of Strahd game came from here, only it wasn't, I took an existing monster called the Eye Golem, and then I changed a whole lot of things about it to make it fit with the thematic approach I was going with this little doll trying to stab your eyes out with a needle. So I changed some stuff, right? But it was taken from here. So there's just so many really good. I read this and I see the monsters, and I've literally, when I'm doing my game prep now, I'm like, when I need a monster, or I'm just like, go to these, just try to find something out of these things. So definitely recommend them. All right, let's go back to our questions. Did I answer the question? Oh yeah, that was it. Okay. Where do you start if you want to start producing content like you do, with thought on things like Lair Magazine and videos in general? Okay, so now we're talking business. You start by starting. You have to start by starting somewhere. It maybe doesn't matter where you start, but you need to evaluate your skills and strengths and what you're good at, you know? So if you want to start doing videos, you have to just start, and then you'll get better as you keep on doing it over the course of a year or 2 years, and then maybe you'll get good enough where people actually can palette your videos and watch them. You know, it took me a long time before people would watch my crap, because it's the very beginning, it wasn't that good. There's a lot of cringe, and there's probably still lots of cringe, but whatever. You keep getting better at it. So you just start. If you want to create products like Lair Magazine or Kickstarter or things like that, one huge thing about creating a product is you can't just make an awesome product and expect magic to happen. You also have to have a mechanism whereby people can find out about the product, and whereby they believe enough in it to go out and purchase it, you know? So in other words, you need a marketing arm, or you need a way to market the material or the product that you have as well. Okay, so the beautiful thing about what I do is that not only do I make the videos, the free content that helps people and helps them learn about being a dungeon master and stuff like that, or having these live streams where we answer questions and stuff, but it also so the people will come and they'll get free information to help them get better in their games, but it also gives me an avenue whereby I can tell them about the products that I create, such as Lair Magazine or my Kickstarters and stuff. And so it's a very good way to give people things that are going to help them, that's free, and then tell them about your paid offerings as well. And that's the marketing aspect of it, you know, where you have a product and you tell people about it. And then some people are going to want that and they're going to go out and get it, you know. Maybe some people won't. That's fine. I'm not trying to sell anyone anything. Marketing it's like hey, this is the product, this is what it could offer you. If you like it, go out and get it. If not, that's fine. So I'm not trying to convince or sell or twist arms. It's just letting people know about things. So if you want to start creating a product, you have to have a way to tell people about it. Now, so if you don't have a YouTube channel or a following and stuff, well, then you can look at advertisements potentially, you know, Google ads or video ads or Facebook ads, Instagram ads and crap like that. So, but you have to think about that as well. So there's, you know what I mean? Because if you just, for instance, if I purely made Layer Magazine, but I never talked about it in my YouTube videos, I had no Google ads running for it, nothing. I just made it and put it out there. Nobody's gonna find out about it, yo. Like, they're never gonna know about it. So they're probably, you'll never get anybody to buy it, then you'll never get any patrons, right? You have to do something to tell people about it. There's another influencer who he basically has a monthly magazine that comes out as well. He does not have a YouTube channel at all. But what he does have is a massive Instagram following. And you better believe there are a multitude of posts about his product out there. And people thus they learn about that product and they'll go out and get that product. And he also probably runs advertisements, I'm assuming. But he doesn't have any YouTube channel videos or anything like that. He uses different mechanisms to tell people about his product. And then he gets people to go over and buy his product. So that's something to consider. Now, if you're not at all interested, like you mentioned Layer Magazine, which is a product that you're selling and stuff. If you just want to make videos or make stuff for free, you can just start doing that, you know. But I think the point is there are things to consider and stuff you learn along the way. But the overall point is to start somewhere and then learn as you go and then iterate, you know, continual improvement, identifying opportunities where you can get better little by little as you go. If you try to perfect whatever it is you have in your mind before you launch it to the world, you will fail. Almost surely, because it will never be perfect enough to launch to begin with, right? Or you'll have so much upfront investment in it that when it launches and then nobody buys it or cares about it, you know what I mean? It's just not going to go anywhere. You're far better off to put something out that's imperfect, that isn't that good, and then just keep iterating on it. So if you're doing videos, you put out crappy video after crappy video, and you just make small improvements. You learn, you get better as you go, until finally, after 2 years of doing it, your videos don't suck nearly as much. So, or if you're creating a product, you just start creating the product. You go to DriveThruRPG or DM's Guild. Don't use DM's Guild. You go to DriveThruRPG and you start putting out D&D adventures. And you just start publishing them. And as you publish them, as you go, guess what? They get better and better and better and better as you go until they start looking actually somewhat professional. You know, my first adventures that I published on DriveThruRPG were horrendous. You look at them and it's like, this is garbage. The adventures themselves were good. The writing was good. They worked, but the layout, the design, the visual appeal of it, nothing good about those. But it got better as I went and looked more and more refined. And then of course I got to the point where I pay people to do that stuff because they're better at it and I don't have the time, you know. So so there's a lot of stuff to think about in there. I don't know if that helps. Just make crap and then make your crap better and less crappy. Yes, yes, exactly. If you wait for something to be perfect to put out into the world, it will never be perfect and it'll never go out into the world and you will get nowhere and you will just suffer from frustration. Get stuff out, push stuff out. And then the market, people will give you feedback. You'll learn, you know. If you're putting out videos, nobody's watching your videos. Well, hey, we got something to learn. Nobody cares about this crap. Let's figure out why. Let's see what we can do to make it better. But writing adventures is fun. Zack likes writing adventures. Zack writes like significant amount of the adventures for Layer Magazine now. He's just gonna be like, it's gonna be like in that Spider-Man movie where in the bad Spider-Man movie, where he's the bad guy, where he runs into the black suit one. I forget the names of that crap. Where he's like, I want the staff position, and then the editor, whoever, is like, well, he wants the staff position, you want the staff position. Yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense. Let's go on to the next question. Luke, how do you deal with Fog of War on a physical dungeon map? You don't need to. Like, you just don't put so once they've on a physical dungeon map, once they've unveiled an area, nothing changes about that area except for like monsters or creatures usually. So if they're over here and there are monsters or creatures that are moving in that area, you just don't put them on the map. You keep track of them right here. and then when they become relevant and the players can see them, then you put the miniature on the map. That's really all you do. Because the shapes of the rooms are not going to change. What's in the room is probably not going to change. And if it does, don't change the map. And then when the players come back to that area, if they do, then you take it off the map and they'll be like, what happened? I don't know, that bookcase isn't there anymore. That's all there is to it. It's super easy. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. What are your thoughts on cursed items? They're stupid. And how often should they be used in a game? Probably never. I have caveats. I don't want anyone to feel like it is the entire theme. Thanks. The typical cursed item is stupid. Here's why. They cast identify. Well, so it depends on how the dungeon master does it, of course. Some dungeon masters, when the players cast identify, they learn that the magic item has a curse on it. Which is stupid, because then they're just gonna be like, well, do we put it on or not? Do we want to use it or not? Nah, probably not. Let's not do it. Let's not do it. And then they go sell it, or they give it to somebody as a joke or something. So my recommendation is when they identify the magic item, don't tell them it's cursed. Like the identify spell it doesn't reveal curses. Like literally, a magic item was created in such a way so that the curse cannot be revealed by any means short of attuning to it or using it, or maybe the wish spell or something. That's it. That's your DM fiat. So they don't know it's cursed. Okay, great. We've overcome one of the flaws with cursed magic items. Great. Now they don't know it's cursed. They can't figure it out until they actually use it or attune to it. Awesome. But then they figure out it's cursed and they're just like, this sucks. It's cursed. And then the wizard's like, don't worry. Remove curse is a 3rd level spell. I'm 5th level. I can cast this. Just hold your horses. Tomorrow I'm going to take it off. Boom, it's off. That's great. Wonderful. Now the item's off and they can go sell it or get rid of it or something. What I'm getting at is cursed magic items, as they're written, as they're usually implemented, are pretty stupid and lame and usually don't go anywhere in a game. So a better way to do it, a better way to do cursed magic items is to have the curse only be able to be removed by a specific mechanism that is not the remove curse spell. It is too easy and trivial to simply cast remove curse or go to an NPC and spend like 50 gold pieces or something to get them to cast the spell on you and then get the curse off. So you should have cursed magic items that have a very specific way that the curse should be removed. We published in Layer magazine some cursed magic items in one of our issues. I can't remember which issue it was. You could go to the DM Layer store and read through the descriptions and find out which one. It'll tell you which one has the cursed magic items in it. It was a few months ago, but that was how we made the cursed magic items. I believe Zack wrote those. I'm pretty sure Zack wrote those. So that is how I would recommend doing cursed magic items. That way, when they get the cursed magic item, there is a specific mechanism that they have to. It could be an adventure they go on to get the stinking magic item, cursed magic item, off from them if they want to. So that's how I would do it. And I would make them rare. You wouldn't want them all over the place because it'll get annoying. It'll get annoying if like all the time they're getting these special cursed magic items that they have to go on special adventures and crap to remove them. And then the problem becomes exactly what you alluded to. The entire game revolves around the cursed magic items, and you don't want that. So make them rare, but make them special and difficult to remove when they do occur. That would be my recommendation. By the way, Glad Cleric, thank you for the $10. I appreciate that, dude. For the kitties. Whee! It's empty. Just literally no coffee. Did I get a coffee alert? Did anybody give me a coffee alert? Have the benefit of the item be greater than the curse. That might work. I did that once with my players. I literally did that with my Sword Coast Guard players. I gave them an amazing trident that had pretty good benefits of using it. And then there were some drawbacks to it. And I think the drawback was literally just that barnacles begin to grow over your skin. That's it. I don't think the drawbacks were that bad, and it had lots of benefits. None of my players wanted to touch that thing. They're like, I don't want barnacles growing over me. I'm like, and so they ended up selling it. And I'm like, well, cursed magic items aren't working very well around here. Nobody did a reminder. Oh, wow. I've been failed. Chat has failed me. Wow. Oh, I see a reminder now. Coffee alert. Oh, that is so lame. Mommy's down here getting kisses. Aaron D says, any campaign setting you're hoping to see released? Personally, I really hope they make Planescape for 5e. I love the way the planes worked, how ideas shape reality. Also, I should never have sold my 2nd edition Planescape stuff. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't really have any campaign setting that I'm looking forward to them releasing, really. Maybe a Dark Sun to see what that's like, but I'm happy with Forgotten Realms and Eberron right now. I'm okay with that. I'm looking forward to doing some what is that called? The Ravenloft stuff. The Dark Lords create special domains of dread. I'm looking forward to doing some domains of dread stuff. I have one of my groups where there's a domain of dread that has been introduced to them, that they might go there eventually. They're probably going to feel guilted into going there because they did something horrible in the game. They awakened a sleeping titan that is rampaging across the world, and one of the only ways to stop the titan is going to be by going into a domain of dread and retrieving a MacGuffin that will help them do that. So they're probably at some point going to be guilted into going there just to stop the problem that they caused. Thank you, BG Thelp, reminding me I'm out of coffee. I appreciate that. Oh, wait, do we have any redemptions? I haven't even been looking at redemptions. I forgot all about those things. Cat Strike. We did the Cat Strike. That's done. Make Luke talking character. Wizard. What is the most adequate use of the Book of Vile Darkness, and where can I find it? For research purposes, nothing more. As the wizard? Now I'm like pressured to come up with something clever and stuff. I don't really know. Let's just wing it. Let's just wing it. That's a very good question. And the most adequate use of Vile Darkness. Well, if one could procure such a book, you might use it to create a means by which you could ensnare the party rogue in a domain of dread. Let us pretend that there is a link between the Book of Vile Darkness and every domain of dread that is in Ravenloft. And let us pretend that there is a rogue in your party that is a nasty, horrible person that you would really rather be kicked out of your gaming group permanently. And if you could surmise a way to link that Book of Vile Darkness to a domain of dread, and thereby permanently banish that rogue to that domain of dread, where he could suffer for all eternity, almost assuredly becoming the Dark Lord himself there, then that would be the most adequate use for a Book of Vile Darkness that I could think of. And then the rogue would never come back. Didn't the last video that came out, the rogue got kicked out of the group? On the last Tuesday's video, did he get kicked out of the group? I can't keep him straight. Everybody has a grudge against the rogue. Everybody hates the rogue. Talking character. As the barbarian, talk or complain about coffee and coffee related things. Talk about coffee? Guys, it's just not fair. I don't understand why this happens, but every time I fill my mug up, it always becomes empty. Like, I even have a very pretty donkey on the mug. His name is Eeyore. Eeyore. Yeah, he's a donkey. And I think he's drinking my coffee. Little guy? Hi, little guy. Is the donkey drinking my coffee? I think little guy is trying to tell me that the donkey's drinking my coffee. It always gets empty. I don't understand it. It's just the most confusing thing. He wants his belly rubbed. Should we rub his belly? I think we should rub his belly. Yeah. Little guy. Come here, little guy. Little guy. Roll. 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 Roll on the ground. He's not listening to me. He's being disobedient. Come on. Come on. Roll. Over here. On camera. No, don't be dumb. Over here. Oh, he went off camera. What are you doing? You're not. You gotta come on camera. He's very hairy. He's shedding all over my carpet. I have like 5 cats. Oh, it's almost time for a cat trip too. Nat 1 on the animal handling check, but I dragged him back on screen. Like, you're just gonna come back on screen, little guy. It's 2 a.m. You want to go to sleep? Nah. You don't need to go to sleep. You're going to hang out with the cats. What's my stance on very powerful combos like plane shift, rope trick polymorph, disintegrate, reduce, mage hand gravity, prismatic wall, true polymorph, stone jar claw, to say become an ancient dragon? Okay, so this would be my stance with my players. I would basically say, hey, that's great. That's a wonderful combination. Yeah, it's gonna work one time maybe, and then probably not. So good job. You either were clever enough to come up with it on your own, or more likely you can read Reddit and stuff like that, and do Google searches. So it would just be a blunt conversation, you guys. If we allow this, the game pretty much just is broken and ceases to exist, and I would have no desire to keep running this kind of a horrible game that's all messed up with stupid crap that happens. So, and the moment that I lose my interest in gaming and running this game is the moment the game ceases to exist, basically. So my recommendation here is that you guys exercise self-control and just not do stuff that you know will ruin the game for everyone. So yeah, that's the thing. I would just have a conversation. Europeans unite. Let's sleep 3 hours later tonight. You guys, for things like that, for broken combinations and stuff, things that are just messed up like that, I just talk with my players. And I just explain that, you guys, I understand that according to the rules it works, but you have to understand that it's way too much. And I'm not familiar with all of your examples, by the way, so I don't know about all those examples. But I just say it's way too much, you guys. If we allow this, the whole game breaks, and if the game's just gonna be it's just gonna be stupid, you guys. If we're doing all this crazy stuff, it just makes the game worse for everyone. If we're just like, using these things because by the rules it works, but it's actually horribly broken. You know what I mean? It doesn't make the game more fun for anyone. And here's the biggest problem. When you can use a sleazy combination to overcome an advantage or a boss or a challenging situation, and just through pure sleazery from leveraging these overpowered combinations. That sucks the heart and soul out of your game master who's running the game for you. And I just don't want to run a game like that, so I don't want to do those things. And if we do those things, then I'm probably not going to want to run the game anymore. And that's a really bad thing, because if the game's not fun for me, I can guarantee you the game is not going to be fun for you guys. So I don't know. It probably goes along those lines. I don't know. But those are my thoughts. And if a player is dead set on using a stupid broken combination, then they're probably not going to work for folks. How often do you level up a campaign? I don't know what that means. Do you do it more often if you only meet twice a month? How often to level up I think the person is asking how often do you have level ups during a campaign. I try to time it so that every 3 or 4 game sessions, we usually play for 4 or 5 hours, sometimes 6. I usually, not always, but I usually like to have a level up every 3 or 4 game sessions. Because we play 2 times a week, that usually, not 2 times a week, 2 times a month, that usually means that you go from level 1 to 20 in about 2 years. That's usually how I have it happen. Every 3 or 4 game sessions levels up. My adventures, a lot of times, will last 3 to 4 game sessions. So usually you level up after an adventure. Now that's not when I'm doing a Curse of Strahd or a module or something. That's a little bit different, especially a sandbox like I'm running Curse of Strahd. But for my typical homebrew adventures or campaigns that I run, you usually will gain a level after every adventure that you go on. Now, some adventures are a lot shorter, and that doesn't happen. And there have been campaigns that I've run where I have not done it that way. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. There are also, I would say too, there are also some groups that I play with that go really, really, really slow, and it takes them a long time to get anything done. And so they don't level up that fast. But that's not my fault usually. It's because they just take a long time. So that's my disclaimer too. Where's my coffee? Oh, let's do a cat strike. Let's do a cat trip. Let's do a cat trip, and I'm gonna get some more coffee. They're here, ladies and gentlemen. We have cat crack. Cat crack. It's catnip. Somebody's like reporting me to Twitch. Guess what? Twitch doesn't care. If they let people do some of the types of streams they do on Twitch where they're practically naked, like, they don't care about this. Okay? Report me. It's catnip. What was I doing? Oh yeah, we gotta go to the cat cam. Oh, I need to get the banana. Hold on, I gotta get the tools of the trade. I don't know where they are. Where's your guys' banana? Oh, it's right there. All right. So I have the banana, and I have, well, I don't even know what this is, you guys. This right here used to be a cat toy. It has been demolished. Absolutely destroyed. Destroyed. So we are gonna apply. We're gonna tuck the catnip. Oh, I'm gonna get clever today. I'm gonna tuck the catnip inside. Oh, I'm gonna thwart their plans. All right, calm down. There you go. Check that out. Yeah, see if you like that. Then I'm gonna apply it to the banana as well. Go over to the cat cam. They are investigating. It's been a couple weeks. It's been like 3 weeks since they've had catnip. I bet they have gone through withdrawals. They've already gone through the withdrawal period and like the sobering stage, where they're getting cold sweats and can't sleep at night and just shaking and stuff. and now have been desensitized. No, they have been resensitized to catnip. So they're probably gonna get really, really messed up. I should say hyper. All right. And here comes the banana. There you go. Check that out. She's just eating it. She's just eating it. Oh, I don't know where the carrot is. Yeah, the happy carrot. I have to look for that. It's underneath a piece of furniture, almost assuredly. I have to look for it someday. It's around here somewhere. It's under the sofa or the coffee stand or something. Why did Squeaky get the honor of being the namesake for Lucius's familiar? Oh, because Squeaky is with me all the time. If I go to the bathroom, you guys, I can't even go to the bathroom without Squeaky. If I go to the bathroom and close the door, he will sit outside the door and paw at the door. He will bang against the door. So he follows me everywhere. So he's essentially my familiar. So yeah, that's why. He has what we call papitis. Oh, I was gonna get coffee. Sorry, I'll be back. Oh, we got orange. Orange is... Hey, was everybody behaved? Was everybody behaved? Penguin Butt, were you supervising? Oh, look at him. Orange. He's such a big tubber. He's adorable. Yeah, they were pretty chill. Okay, cool. Sometimes Orange just randomly like mugs it, just jumps on a cat and attacks him. He's got like a mean streak in him or something. He's such a big baby, but occasionally he just jumps and wallops on someone. Not in a playful manner, like in a I am here to kick your butt manner. It comes out of the blue too. This one day he was just sitting there like doing nothing, just sitting there, calm as could be. And then all of a sudden he just goes whop at Squeaky. I think it was at Squeaky, and just like bit him. And Squeaky just went running. and then Orange took over with the catnip. That was a while ago, but I remember that happening. It was hilarious.
Oh, mommy. I'm sorry, mommy.
Mommy's under my feet. I bumped her.
What's up, mommy? This is my mommy doing.
Yeah, it's this chaotic streak. All right. Let's go. Last weekend, I had my second session as a DM, and my players got themselves into such trouble, so much trouble with their first encounter that they had a TPK. Oh man, it's like, hey guys, let's play D&D. I'm new at this, still learning a little bit. Oh, sorry, you're all dead. Whoops. But it sounds like the players got themselves into trouble too. Uh-oh. See? Oh, there we go. There's a little showdown right there. Because we're new to this, I said that we could just do a restart for that session. What would you do in such a situation? I think that's fine, dude. I wouldn't worry. Yeah, just redo it. You're all new, your players are new, you're learning things, they made characters, they probably enjoyed their characters, liked their characters, and then they all just died, you know? So yeah, that's fine. What would I do in that situation? Assuming that let's pretend that I'm running Call of Cthulhu for the first time. I've played it before a few times, but I've never actually been a game master for Call of Cthulhu. And things got totally crazy and they all died and we're all just like kind of disappointed. Yeah, sure, why not? Hey guys, why don't we just start over? I don't know that I would run the same adventure or encounter again. I would probably, because that might be boring to do it all over again. Oh, of course, maybe they want to do it again. Maybe because they died, they want revenge and they want another shot. I think that would be okay. I would just be careful. I would be very, very clear that I am not setting a precedent. I am not setting a precedent whereby every time somebody dies or the group dies, that there are save points that you can just go back to. I would be very, very clear that this is a one-time thing that we're doing because we're all learning about it. But this isn't going to be something that happens every single time in the game. Be very clear about that. You don't want to set that precedent because that is one of the things. That's one of the things that makes the game exciting. Is that you can die, you can fail, your character could die, you could all TPK, and then you gotta roll up new characters. Once you take away the possibility of death and failure, and there are save points, and you can just rewind and go back, the game loses a lot of its appeal. It loses its excitement, the little bit of like, you know, worry and panic and excitement about, oh man, what's gonna happen? Holy crap, are we gonna win? What, that doll, it's gonna stab your eyes out. Ah! If you can just go back to a save point and restart over, the game loses so much of its fun and excitement, in my opinion. So I wouldn't recommend that every single time. But if you're all just brand new at it and crap happened on your second game session, I think that's fine. I wouldn't do that every time, and I would be very clear that you're not setting a precedent with it. So, yeah, that's my advice. If you were a veteran and you'd done it for a while, and then your players are all kind of, even if they were newish or something, if you were, yeah, I don't know, I probably wouldn't be recommending it. But because of your specific situation with you all being new, I think it's okay. If that weren't the case, then I probably would be like, no, that ruins a whole element of the game if you can just reset. So there you go. They died to 4 goblins. How do you get your players very invested in the world? I usually like to build the world around their characters. I never build my world around their characters. I've never done that before, ever. Not the world. Some adventures might be themed around their characters. I might have an adventure that's based upon a character's backstory, Or I might have an adventure that's based upon what the characters did in the game world, that's a consequence of something they've done previously in the game, but I have never created the world itself around the characters, ever. To my knowledge. How do you get them invested in the world? That's a different question than how to get them invested in the game. I'm going to point that out. You can be very, very invested in the game and love the game, but you don't care about the world that the game takes place in. So what motivates dungeon masters is different than what motivates players. Dungeon masters many times care about the world. We care about the setting. We care about the cities, the different little cool things that we've, assuming that we homebrewed it, the different things we've created and all this kind of stuff, you know, the different civilizations and the political stuff going on, the kings and the rulers and all this stuff. Many dungeon masters, game masters are excited about those things. Many times that's the least important thing to players. Players usually care about their characters and the adventures that they're going on. They care about gaining levels of power, leveling up, getting access to new cool spells and abilities, getting magic items, gaining wealth, building a legacy, having a stronghold, having followers, doing that sort of thing that revolves around their character. They care about the adventures that they go on. Are they doing something of importance? Are they overcoming obstacles? Are there bad guys that they're defeating? Are they doing things in the world that interests them? The adventures that they go on. For most players, in my opinion, the world comes in at a number 3, if not lower on the list, and there are other things they care about more. The world probably is not that big of a deal to most players, I feel. In fact, if you look, so Brandon's, what is his name? What is his name? Hold on a second. What is his name? Okay, somebody knows. Somebody will tell me. I can't find it really quick. The name of the author, you guys know, Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson. Thank you. That's the name. Brandon Sanderson. He has a YouTube channel. And he gives out basically advice to authors. Now, big point, being a game master is not the same thing as being an author, but you're still crafting things in the world when you're creating adventures and situations and stuff that are similar. You're still doing similar things to what an author does, even though I'm a very big proponent that a dungeon master is not a storyteller, right? You're not, that there's a big difference between telling a story and then creating a situation. So I believe in what do you call it? Evolving a story that comes out of the situation, the adventure, and the player's actions. There's a name for that. Emerging story. There's a difference between an emergent story and a directed story. A directed story is when the game master is directing the story, they're deciding what's going to happen, and the players really can't influence it, even despite what they might do in the game. An emergent story is when the game master sets up a situation, they set up an encounter, they set up an adventure, the players and their characters interact with it, and then something happens as a result. And the game master has no idea what the result's going to be. And so the story emerges through gameplay. I'm a big proponent of emergent storytelling, as the way I just described it, not directed storytelling. That was a caveat, that was a sidetrack, but an important one. But if you look at Brandon Sanderson's YouTube channel, he gives advice to authors, and he one of the things he talks about is the importance of such things as NPCs, the characters in the story, and the world in the story, and the plot. And he basically had a video that I was watching, and he is a world-class author. When he finished out the Wheel of Time series, in my opinion, he did a way better job than who wrote the Wheel of Time series again? The heck was his name? Robert Jordan. Okay, Robert Jordan. He did a better job of writing out the last 4 or so books of the Wheel of Time series than Robert Jordan did. I would say Robert Jordan's first 4 or 5 books were outstanding. He lost his way in the center. And then Brandon Sanderson brought back hope. He was the redeemer of hope. He's an amazing writer. So he talked about the importance of characters, the plot, the action, and then the world. He ranked at the very bottom the world. When you're writing a story, telling a story, what's going on in the world, that's the adventures that we make as game masters. And then the people in the world, the characters, that's the PCs, our players' characters. Those things are way more important than the world that things take place in. And so that's and that applies as well to running a game. Your players usually will care more about their characters and the plot, the adventures they go on, than the world. So the question is, how do you get players very invested in the world? I don't care about whether they're invested in the world or not, is the bottom line. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't know why that would be a goal of mine. I just don't know why that would be a goal of mine to get them invested in the world. Like, if I'm invested in the world and I care about the world that I've created, assuming I've made a homebrew world, that's great. But that's not what they care about. I don't want to, it's not my goal to change what my players care about. My goal is to run a fun game for everybody. Some people care about different things in the game. I think that's fine. So I really don't care if my players are invested in the world or not. I want them invested in the game, but there's a lot of things that are part of the game, you know, and the world is just one little itty bitty piece of that. So as long as they're invested in the game and they care about different elements, things that they have fun and enjoy, that's all I care about. If they're invested in the game and they like doing X, Y, and Z, even if they don't care about my world that I've spent countless hours creating, well, la-di-da. That's not one of the things that many players care about. So I just don't think that it should be a goal to get somebody invested in your world. Now, are there things you can do to make your world more interesting? Yes, there are. But I wouldn't set it in your game master mind. I wouldn't set it as like something that should be a goal of yours to get the players invested in the world. The goal really should just be run a fun game for everybody. And the things that are fun for players and that are fun for you should, as the game master, should be included in that game. Now, along the course of the way, if you do things that show off your world, little cool things like points of interest that kind of introduce a little bit of the lore of your world in an interesting way. I remember my one of the things that my Sword Coast Guard players really liked about my game once is that they were traveling from point A to point B and they ran across a wizard's tower, a tower. They just found a tower just sitting off the side of the road. They went and investigated it and they found out this tower every day at dawn disappeared and reappeared somewhere else in the world. That was it. That was the tower. And they found a special book in that tower too that Nigel ended up getting. I forgot everything that book did. They found a magic item that was linked to that tower. But that tower was extremely interesting to them. Just the simple fact they found a random tower that every day at dawn went somewhere else in the game world. And I had a little bit of lore attached to it. I think I had a little tiny bit of lore that they learned about it as well. And that made them, many of them commented that they thought that was really cool. They ran across that tower and they learned a little bit about the lore of the world. So my point is that's the sort of thing that you can do from time to time to make your players, to point out something about your world that's really cool. And the players will be like, oh, that's fun. That's really interesting. I like that. And then they go on about their lives. They go on about their adventuring, playing their characters, leveling up, gaining cool spells and magic items and stuff like that. But that's something you do from time to time. You don't want to overburden the game with that sort of thing, because remember, most players don't really care about that so much. Here and there, every so often, showing off your world and having them come across a point of interest that's really, really cool. That's awesome. And doing that sort of thing every so often will help get them invested in your world more. Maybe, but it might not, and that's okay. the goal is not to get them invested in the world. The goal is to run a fun game for everybody. Or I shouldn't say run a fun game, because you can't control whether people have fun or not. All you can do is create the environment in which fun might happen. The ultimate goal should be more of everybody just having fun, in so much as it's within your control, because you can't make people have fun. You just can't, you know. But ideally, we're playing a game, your players are having fun and you're having fun. That's really what the overarching goal or the objective should be, even though you can't really make it happen, but you can do everything in your power to set up the conditions for it to be possible. So it's better to get your players invested in the game and not worry so much about whether they're invested in the world, is what I would say. All right, cool. Thank you for the timestamp. I appreciate that. Mandatory fun. Zack says you can't control whether people have fun. The army would like to talk to you about the importance of mandatory fun time. Yeah, I hate it as much as everyone else. Zack, you So, context for my upcoming rant. I am a Scrum Master. It's a position in software development on agile teams. I know I'm using a bunch of jargon here, but that's my job title. I can't really explain to you in layman terms what it actually does or means or stuff like that. You can think of it as a cross between, I'm a leader on the team. I'm one of the team's leaders, but it's hard to explain exactly what my job is. I'm the master of the Scrum. That's how my team likes to put it. But my point is this. what I'm driving at is the Scrum Masters get together and talk about crap. Mostly stupid crap. Crap nobody should really care about. But we talk about a bunch of stuff, you know, all the time. And one of the things one of the Scrum Masters came and shared with the group was in their retrospective, one of the things that teams do is they have retrospectives where they take a look at their work and see opportunities for improvement and stuff. And he's like, well, in one of our retrospectives, we were examining, you know, we were talking about how we need to have more fun. And so our team has resolved, one of the action items that we took away from the meeting was to try to have more fun. And so he's tried to figure out ways to like introduce more fun into the team and stuff like that. And so you said like mandatory fun, and that's what I was thinking. It's like, okay. And I think he was actually using that term kind of in a smiling, half joking way, but he's like, yeah, we're trying to figure out how to have more fun, how to have more mandatory fun and stuff like that. So you know what they're doing. They're probably going to have additional meetings and get-togethers and stuff like that so that people can try to like enjoy their job more or enjoy each other more or do something that's fun, team building stuff, camaraderie stuff and stuff like that. And I thought it was like, I'm like, okay, look it. If we were all in the office and we have to be there from 8:30 in the morning until 5 at night, let's just say 9 to 5. If we have to be there from 9 to 5, we're required to be there in the office, then yes, getting together and screwing around and playing a stupid game or something is great because you're not working. But when you're working remotely from home, that is not a good proposition. An additional meeting during which I'm not getting my work done and I have to stay and work longer is a bad idea. Here's the thing. When you're a salaried employee and you're working remotely, the important thing is getting your job done. If you get your job done, it doesn't really matter if you take 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week. Your job is done. So you are incentivized to be very efficient, get your job done so that you can live your life and hang out with your wife and your kids and other things. If you're stuck in the office, yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing because you're there, you know? And honestly, it doesn't take us 40 hours a week to get our jobs done. We can get it done in 20. The other 20 hours in the office are spent screwing around doing dumb crap that have zero value add to the company. So anyway, mandatory fun at the office. Hey, let's get together and screw around and play some games. Sounds great. Mandatory fun when you're working remotely. Stupid idea, because it just means less time for people to get, for them to spend doing things they actually enjoy doing with their lives. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, if I can work 20 hours a week and be like, about my coworkers, or if I can work 40 hours a week and have, yay, I have fun with my coworkers. Do you know what I'm gonna choose? 20 hours a week, dude. Are you kidding me? And then I can live my life doing something I actually care about. So there's my mandatory fun comment for the day. What is this thing on me? I have like a mosquito or a fly or something down here, man. It just like dive bombed my ears. It's like a mandatory nap in the kindergarten. I do it at work sometimes. This is what happens when you work for salary. Yeah, there's so much time waste at work. They're making us come back into the office for 3 days a week. There's so much time waste when you're at work. You're just like, this is stupid. So much time wasted. I literally at my company, there are people, when we were 100% in the office, there were people that would work from home specifically to be more productive and get a bunch of stuff done, because you didn't have drive-bys at your cube. You weren't going to these stupid meetings and stuff that are mostly just fillers and time wastes, because the truth of large corporations is bloat. There's a whole lot of job positions that do absolutely nothing and fulfill no purpose. And people just sit there and kind of do nothing. And they fill their lives with meetings, essentially, and having conversations to justify their existence. So that's what you see at large corporations a lot. And most of the stuff they do has a zero value add to the bottom line of the company. It's bullcrap jobs. I think somebody wrote a book about bullcrap jobs. It's not called bullcrap though. I literally think there's a book called Yes, it's literally called bullcrap jobs, only it's not, they don't say bullcrap, they say the other word. Yup. Bullcrap jobs is totally it, man. I don't know what the solution is though. Because if you take all the people that have bullcrap jobs, which are so many of them, and they just eliminate those positions, you have a severe societal problem on your hand. So I don't know what the solution is. Maybe it is just to have bullcrap jobs, but then you have people with such a feeling of meaninglessness and uselessness because they know their jobs are stupid and pointless. Unless people delude themselves into thinking they're actually doing something of value. I don't know. I once went to a training where the presenter was pretending to be a kid throwing a tantrum and shoved a chair, except the chair hit me. I needed ice and was limping afterwards. I was so ticked. Whoa, well, that was a different conversation. I do everything I can to avoid working at work, and yet I still end up doing more work than a lot of people there. I mean, I spend a solid 30 to 40% of my day on Discord. Yeah, Zack, thank you, I appreciate that. My Discord, probably. He's talking about. Well, I'm assuming it is. I'm sure you have other Discords that you're on too. It's all those TPA reports. There's so much bloat and waste. Yes, it totally is. People will always rise to their level of incompetence. Bureaucracy is the major cause. Yes, 𝐑𝐄𝐒𝐿. Holy crap. The amount of bureaucracy, and oh yes, it's so crazy. I was once in a meeting with a VP and she was encouraging our team to implement bureaucracy to create pain for people, to discourage them from certain behaviors. She's like, yes, that's exactly what she told us to do. It's like, this is a way to get people to stop doing something that you don't want them to do. Put bureaucracy in place of it, you know? So if people were, I was on a tech comm team, we did a lot of communications stuff, and she's like, example, if people are requesting too many communications from you and you have too many people requesting communications, introduce bureaucracy. So they have to fill out forms and give you information and stuff like that before you will do any work for them. What you're going to find is a lot of people that the amount of requests you get are going to decrease because people won't fill out those forms. And so that solves your team's problem of having too many work requests, more work requests than you can fulfill. And so it's like introduce bureaucracy to reduce the problem of too much work coming into your team. That was the chat. I was like, wow. But you know what was awesome about that? She was honest. She was actually honest about what management does and thinks, at least in that little tiny bit. I mean, it makes sense. People aren't going to ask you to do communications if they got to fill out a bunch of stuff in a form. They won't ask you. It's too much work. Exactly. Make things more inefficient to make it more convenient for you. Yeah, but they do that. You know they do that. If I suggested it at work, they would probably approve it. Oh, they would. Yeah, because it solves the problem. It solves the problem while avoiding having to tell people no. Because ideally, what you should do is if you have too many communication requests than your team can actually fulfill, then what you should do is you should prioritize the communication requests, and then you should say, okay, we're going to do these ones here because they're the most important ones. All of these ones here are not important enough and we don't have time for them. We're going to tell these people that unfortunately we don't have capacity to do these. We will not do these requests. They are not important enough according to the other ones. That's what you should do. You should say, I'm not doing this because it's not important enough. But then you have to have that conversation and you have to explain to people that their communication request is not important enough to rise above all the other requests that you have. And who wants to have that conversation? That's a difficult conversation to have. Isn't it just better to have everybody fill out forms, create a massive amount of inefficiency so that some of those people will just not ask you and then you don't have to do requests? So that's quote unquote easier. It's easier, but it is way inefficient. Absolutely inefficient. That's optional rule. That is true. It cuts down on meaningless and bad requests. Yes. Screening isn't inherently evil. I totally agree with you. There is a point at which that's useful and stuff. Yes, I agree. You definitely want to screen some stuff, but you don't need to have a long form or something or bureaucracy to screen those sorts of requests. I could get emails when I was a communicator guy. I could get an email and I could immediately tell if this was important or not. It's like, I could tell if it was a waste of my team's time or not, you know, from who it came from what the topic was about, from what they wanted to communicate. And the truth of the matter is that nobody reads emails and nobody reads our stupid intranet announcements anyway. And so, like, if you really want people to know about this, don't have me write an email. Don't have me put something on the intranet because nobody will read it anyway. You're better off printing out flyers and going and dropping them off at desks on your own, or just telling people about it, or I don't know, write something on that whiteboard when you walk in the front door that people can see. There's so many better ways about doing this than having me write a stupid announcement for you, because nobody will read your announcement, dude. So you can do that same screening without the forms too. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Don't you love company surveys that ask you everything which identifies you except your name? They say it's anonymous. We have a yearly survey that goes out at my company that asks for feedback on the company and what you think about the company. And previous years, it would always say that it's anonymous. This year, they took that wording out and they explicitly said that certain people at the company will have access to your information, who you are, and your comments you left. You know that's HR. You kidding me? So they took that out, but nobody saw it. Nobody noticed it. We just figured it was still anonymous, like it had always been. And then I'm pretty sure I left pretty blunt feedback. That's kind of the guy I am. So I don't know. I'm at the point that I don't care though. I don't have to care. So I'm okay with either way. Is that a new mug? Yeah, Amber's. Well, kind of Amber's. This is my daughter's mug. It was a gift from one of my wife's sisters, and this was supposedly the one they went to my daughter, but I took it because I like it. And my daughter doesn't use it, so it's mine now. I'm squatting on the mug, so it's by de facto mine. There's this. There's. I know that came out wrong. There's this YouTube channel that I've been watching some videos on. It's called Life After Layoff. And there's some good information on there, but it also reveals the sleazy mentality at companies, especially in and stuff like that. One of his videos talks about how human resources is not your friend. And that's a big misconception. Some folks think that human resources is there to help the employees. No, they're not. They're there to mitigate risk for the company. 100%. They're not on your side. So he talks about that in the video. And that's not just from that video. That's just from experience and knowing and learning and crap like that. You know, yes, HR is there to protect the company. That's their first priority. They're not there for the employees. Well, look at the name, Human Resources. Tells you exactly what they think of you. You are a resource. You're not a person, you are a resource. And you know what? You are immediately expendable. They can get rid of you tomorrow. I'm supposed to put 2 weeks notice in, but they can get rid of me tomorrow. Is that fair? Probably not. Where are we going? How about some questions? We got a little off topic there. How to deal with spectators to the game interrupting. Tell them to stop interrupting. Hey guys. Hey, I know you're just kind of watching the game, but if you could just watch the game and not interrupt us, I would greatly appreciate that. Maybe with a little bit more class, maybe a little bit gentler than that, but I'm gonna tell you what, by the second or third interruption, I am no longer gonna have patience for it. I am not gonna be gentle. I am not gonna be nice. Hey, please stop interrupting our game. I'm getting really annoyed. You are affecting our game, and that's not cool. Please stop. Like, I'm gonna start getting annoyed, and I'm gonna start getting very blunt. Like, I'm there to play a game, and you guys are watching. This happens when you're at game shops. It happens. It happens when you're at game shops, and it is super annoying. We've only played in game shops, like a few times where we had somebody that actually sat and watched us play. This was years ago. And one of the times the guy, he didn't interrupt all the time, but he interrupted about 3-4 times or so. And each time it was very annoying. It's like, I do not want your comments on the game. I really don't. You are not a player. You're interrupting our game. You need to stop. I don't think that it got to the point where I said anything to him, because it was only a few times over the course of the entire game, but it was very annoying. So if you are watching somebody else's game, don't interrupt them. They don't want to hear your comments. Maybe they do, I don't know, but I did not like it. I did not appreciate it. So I would just be blunt, be very direct, tell the person the first time, be nice about it, you know, and ask them to stop interrupting. Put it nicely. But if it keeps on happening, I would get more and more blunt, and I would let my annoyance come through more in my countenance as I addressed them, to make it very clear to them that I was not happy with the fact that they're interrupting my game. So it would just start coming out naturally, where I would no longer rein in and put on a happy face. I would let my angry, upset Luke face start coming out after the second or third interruption, for sure. And if they kept doing it, at one point, I'd be like, dude, you need to shut up or leave. I'm not putting up with this crap. Let me read the rest of the question though, shall we? I am running games in person, and I have a few people who want to watch but not play. Have invited them to join us. Then they need to watch and not play. You need to set the expectation. You need to literally set the expectation that you're here to watch, not play. If you've invited them, you need to set your expectations. If your expectations are that they watch and don't interrupt, you need to tell them that at the get-go. You need to tell them that right now. Like they've already been there a while, it sounds like, and they're interrupting and stuff. Little girl and mommy are fighting. You guys can you can see it. They're over there fighting. It's play fighting, obviously. I would set the expectations with them right away. Like the next thing you do, you know, either talk with them or send them an email. If you can talk in person with them, it's probably preferable. But sometimes email has to suffice. But set expectations right away so they know that they're there to watch, not interrupt, and that it's causing a problem for the game. How would you introduce a new character when the party is on the top of a mountain with no civilization around? Hey, there's a guy that's tied up behind a rock. What? Yeah, you guys came around the corner and there's a guy who's tied up there. What are you doing tied up there? Oh, the player can make something up. Holy crap, you guys, there's a bird nest up there, a big massive bird nest, and you think you see a person up there. And they go up. There's a person in there. That's the new character. Well, how did you get here? Let me tell you the story about the rock who brought me here. There are two. Just pick something, make something up. You guys are walking along and a person drops out of the sky and lands on the rocks before you and their body's all broken up. And you rush like, okay, what the heck? Where did you come from? Or you're walking up the mountainside, you come around a corner and somebody else is walking towards you. Oh, that's the new character. Well, what are you doing up here? Oh, you know, just went for a walk. There's a multitude, infinite number of ways you can do that. Just, they run into the person, fill in the details, just make something up. It can be any old reason whatsoever. Just anything that gets them into the game as quickly as possible. Like my primary consideration is getting the player into the game as quickly as possible. I don't care really whether the introduction is plausible or realistic. I am more concerned about the player getting in the game and playing rather than having the perfect introduction. Nixit's like, yeah, it just drops out of the sky. Isn't that awesome? It's like they drop out of the sky and land on the rocks before you. Just there it is. Do you have any house rule to make armor class more interesting? Nope. I use the rules. Armor class is armor class. Oops. I clicked the wrong button. Can your next PC be a tabaxi who takes smokes or catnip? I don't know. I like playing rogues. I could make a tabaxi rogue, I suppose. No guarantees. I'll do whatever suits me in the moment. Do you make the players rest for the entire 8 hours for a full rest? What is the minimum that you use? So, a long rest takes up 8 hours. Period. End of story. That is the game mechanic. That's literally the rules. And the rules, if I remember correctly, state that during those 8 hours, 6 of them must be spent sleeping. 2 of those hours can be spent doing light activities such as reading or, you know, maybe sharpening a weapon or something like that. But 8 hours must be spent by the entire group for a long rest. Now, some races such as elves can meditate for 4 hours and get the same benefits. But the rule is a long rest takes 8 hours, period, end of story, because that is what it says in the rules and that's what we're doing. Whee! So that's how I do it. I just follow the rules on that. I follow the rules on most things. As many things as possible, I follow the rules as written in the books because it makes everybody's lives easier when you just follow the rules, as opposed to having a bajillion homebrewed change things, which gets difficult to track. And you should probably write them down and have it available for your players and for you to keep track of. The last Tabaxi character I heard of was it got deleted. I knew that was gonna get deleted. Sorry, Obnixar, you got smoted. I saw your comment and I was like, ooh, that's racy. I started to read it, and as I was reading it, my moderator was like, Boom! That was perfect timing, moderators. That's perfect timing. How do you figure out the prices of items your players can buy? The rule books. The player's handbook has most of the prices possible. And then if you're talking about magic items, Xanathar's Guide to Everything in the downtime area has suggested magic item prices. There are some other things that I've just made house rules on, like spells. If you're buying spells, you're buying scrolls and things like that. So some things I've house ruled, other things I use the books by. I don't create massive charts and tables. If something random happens and comes up and they want to buy it and it's available, I just make something up that seems reasonable. And I usually err on it being expensive because players usually by level 8 especially have so much money that they don't know what to do with it. So I just make things expensive for them to spend their money on. At that level, they're also looking to buy expensive stuff or things you can't get super easily. So long and short of it, I use the rules or I make crap up that seems to make sense. Luke, what do you like and or hate about Tasha's? Somebody's trying to trigger a rant. The problem right now is that I'm kind of tired and I've been streaming for almost 3 hours. So yeah, it's not gonna trigger me right now. I need more, you need more fast juice? What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh yeah, that sane magic item list. Yeah, that's true. I actually did a video on that. Did that come out? Did that video come out? Yeah, I did. That was my magic item video. Yeah, there's that list of sane magic items that I found. I think I found it on Reddit and then it linked to somewhere else. Yeah. That'll help give you ideas of prices of magic items. I don't know. I didn't look at the prices though. I don't know if the prices on there are actually prices that I would recommend charging for magic items. The benefit of the sane magic items list, because they set prices for everything, that helped to show the relative power of the different items. Because the more expensive something was, according to the way they did it, the more powerful it was. And that just helps to demonstrate that something that Wizards thinks is an uncommon magic item like winged boots is not uncommon in power. It's actually very, very powerful. And so it gets ranked higher on that list and costs more money. Do you show your players the entire map of the area they're in? No! Why would you do that? Never, ever, ever, ever show them the entire map of the area they're in. Oh man, do you invite metagaming and other things at a whole new level? Don't do that. If you're in person, you draw it little by little. If you're playing on a virtual tabletop, just use your fog of war that they have set up. Don't show them the entire map of the area they're in. That is just it's metagaming in every way possible. It's information the characters don't have access to. It's information that the players shouldn't have access to. And it's just going to invite them to metagame in every way possible as they explore that dungeon. No, don't do that. Oh, we know where the stairs are. Let's go right to the stairs. Oh, look at this big, huge chamber. Surely that must be where the dragon is. Let's go right there and skip everything else. It kills exploration. You got 3 pillars, ladies and gentlemen. You have combat, you have social interactions, and you have exploration. When you know the entire map layout, exploration, a big part of exploration has been murdered and destroyed right off the bat. Now we know how many rooms there are, the corridors, how to get to them. We know where the stairs are. We know where the doors are. We know everything about the layout of this dungeon that we shouldn't have access to. And so exploration is destroyed. And here's the problem. It's not because we don't want our filthy players able to see the map and cheat. That's not the point. The point is that many players love exploration. That's part of the game that's fun for them, that's interesting for them. And if you show them the map, that kills a part of the game for them. It makes a part of that game less fun for them. One of my players, Joe, loves exploration. He loves the mystery of poking around and exploring and finding things and stuff. Part of exploration is discovering the dungeon and the different areas of the dungeon and stuff. If you show him an overview map of the dungeon, that's gonna ruin part of the game for him. That's gonna take away fun from the game for him. I almost assure you, guarantee you. So there's a bajillion, there's the metagaming reason for not showing them the map. And there's also the idea of you're going to be taking away some of the fun for them, some of the mystery for them. It's the equivalent of showing them the stat block of the boss that they're going to fight at the end of the dungeon. It's the same thing. That hurts combat in the same way that showing them the map hurts the exploration element of the game as well. So no, don't do that. Don't ever do that, please. Please. It's got wrong written all over it for a multitude of reasons. There we go. Just write that one down. That was a great question. That was an outstanding question. Yes. I wasn't yelling at you at all. That was a great question. Just triggered me. That gives me an idea. Character sells the players a map of the dungeon they're going to, marked up with traps and such, but it's all wrong and it's meant to mislead the characters. Now that could be fun. That could be lots of fun. Yeah. This is the problem too. This is the problem too. I have talked about in some videos the importance of doors. And I think I've talked about in live streams the importance of doors in dungeons. This is one of the reasons why doors are important. Because if you don't have doors in your dungeon, some players, such as a wizard who has a familiar, or a druid who can shapeshift into something like a squirrel or a spider or something, they can basically, if there are no doors, they can basically explore the entire dungeon and get the map layout before the group goes in there. And that, in the same way, ruins the exploration element. Some of the players are not going to have as much fun when you can send your little spider familiar, or the druid can turn into a spider and then scout out the entire dungeon because there are no doors to stop them. There are no barriers to stop them. And they can come back and get a report of what's in the entire dungeon. And then the group can then beeline for the parts they're interested in. That takes away the entire element of exploration in even a worse way than showing them a map. An even worse way. And so players who love exploring, they just had the guts of the game ripped out when that happens. So I'm not saying to murderize the squirrels and the spiders that do the scouting. What I'm saying is put doors in your dungeon that helps put limits on how much they can do that. And then that exploration element of your dungeon is preserved, and players who like that can still have fun. I learned the hard way about putting doors in dungeons. I had a game where a wizard had an arcane eye, and I had no doors in the dungeon, and he literally was having the eye go through the entire dungeon and see everything and scout out everything. And I was realizing how much this was ruining the game for everyone. And then they were like, okay, we're not gonna go there. We're gonna go right to the stairs. And it was just like, oh man. It wasn't really that they were bypassing dangers and stuff. That wasn't really the concern. The concern is that they're ruining people's fun by doing that, And some people be like, well, that's a creative and smart idea. It's not creative, you guys. It's been done so many times. You guys, the eye's invisible. Yeah, it can't be targeted or stopped or anything like that, So it's not creative and original. It's been done a bajillion times. And that's why you put doors in your dungeons, because it makes the game better. It does. Breaking adventures and breaking the game, it's not fun. It's only fun for maybe one player who's doing it and thinks they're clever, but they're really not clever. not when they read about it on Reddit or something. They're really just ruining the game and people's fun, and that's not cool. It's not about being a jerk and telling people no, they can't do X, Y, and Z. It's about preserving fun for everybody at the table. Wish that the adventure was done? Yeah. I agree, Goliath Cleric. Some of those things are the players not doing things, intentionally avoiding doing certain things because they know that it's not going to be good for the game. And I generally speaking have pretty good luck, or I shouldn't say luck, but I have mostly players who understand that sort of thing. And many of my players have told me there are certain things that they could do, but they won't because they know that it will ruin the game. And those are the players that you love. Those are the players that know that they could do this broken combo, but they don't. The players that know they could do X, Y, and Z, but don't because they know it will break the game. It will kind of take away the fun from the game for certain people. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are the players. When you have players that intentionally abstain from doing things like that for the overall good of the game and the other players, those are the players you want in your games. Oh yes, those are the players you hold on to and you love. The player you don't want is the one who wants to do that thing that's going to break the game, argues with you that they should be able to do it, and throws a hissy fit that they should be able to do it, and then gets upset that you won't allow them. Those are the players that you're better off without. And when you say no, if they throw a fit and leave your game, they're probably doing everyone at that table a favor because you probably don't want that player at your game anyway. So I wouldn't worry too much about saying no to players and stuff and having those conversations, because if a player throws a fit and leaves over that, you probably didn't want him anyway. So in the end, everybody wins. Oh yes, thank you, Penguin Butt. We are trying to raise money for the Capital Area Humane Society. I can show you. This is their website right here that Penguin Butt linked to. This is a humane society that is near where I live, and they do things like, you know, they have cats and dogs that they take care of that people can adopt. They do spay and neutering at really reasonable prices and stuff. Here are some cat photos and stuff to tempt you. But basically, any of your tips that you decide to give through that link right there that Penguin Butt just put there will go toward the Capital Area Humane Society. My goal is to raise $500 for them, and there's that tip bar that you can see right there is kind of tracking our progress toward that. So my goal is to give them a bunch of money to help what they're doing with animals and helping all that kind of stuff. So that is what we're doing. We'll just keep on doing that until we hit our goal, and then I'll probably pick a different charity that we can give to. So yep, that's what that is. Thank you. We already have a couple folks who have given some money, and I do deeply appreciate that. Obviously, I love animals and I love cats. So I'm pretty hungry. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Not an actual question. Okay, I have a party of new players that don't pick up on clear danger signals. I mean like 100 bandits rushing them full force, and them not retreating through the obvious escape. That is correct. That is not an actual question. Thank you for... I love that. That's not a question. Ambers, what happened to your cats? If it's a sad story, don't tell me. I have extras. Ambers, you're gonna be at the Texas convention, right? LayerCon. Are you gonna? I think you said you were gonna be at LayerCon. I'll bring one of my cats for you. Which cat do you want? You can't have little guy. Ed has already claimed little guy. I'm not actually giving away my cats. Some people are like, Luke's giving away cats? No. I'm gonna auction them I'm auctioning them on eBay. Oh, I'm so sorry. That stinks. I lost 2 cats last summer. Guapo and then Tay. So I feel that. We have a date. We have a date, you guys. We have a date for LayerCon. We have a date and a location. We literally have a date and a location. Let me find it for you. That stuff has been locked in pretty much. And I just paid the venue today to get the room locked in for us. I can't find the information. What days was it? Penguin Butt, you've been working on this more than I have. What days is LayerCon again? It's October 8, 9, and 10. Is that right? I think it's 8, 9, and 10. Let me confirm. I should probably do a public posting somewhere about this. We're just getting the details squared away. We have the date locked in and we have the venue locked in. We don't have the details or everything quite yet, obviously. Yes, so it is October 8, 9, and 10. And it's going to take place at, here, I'll just put the address here in the chat. It's the Holiday Inn Express, and that's the address right there. So that, and it's October 8, 9, and 10. That's a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. So yeah, we have that stuff is pretty locked in at this point. So you can kind of bank on that. We're just gonna get some details. We gotta get details kind of figured out. This will be cancel. Ooh. Obviously, this is the first one. It's gonna be fairly small, which is good, because you don't want to do a big one your first time. You want it to be small so you can work out kinks and learn stuff. It's kind of like starting a YouTube channel. You don't want to have a lot of people watching your stuff at first when you suck. You want to have time to get better before lots of people are watching your content. You really do. Yes, I've already talked to Dungeon Coach Alan. I've already told Alan about it, and he said he was down. But I view that as like an unofficial commitment because I have yet to tell him the actual dates and stuff like that. But he's probably going to be there if it works with his schedule, but it's not a firm commitment. I don't really have a relationship with Taking 20, and I'm not probably going to reach out to him. So yeah, but I'm definitely I'm tight with Dungeon Coach, so he'll be there. Hopefully I'll convince him. I'll be like, dude, get your butt over here, let's go. And he'll be like, okay, fine. That's an hour away from you. Cool. I have to fly there. My wife and I are gonna be down there. She's gonna be the boss. How did I pick Texas? Just curious. Why did I pick Texas? I think there were a couple different reasons I picked Texas. One, most conventions don't happen in Texas. Like, if you look at all the really big famous conventions, like, they're somewhere else. And so I was like, I kind of want to have a convention somewhere that not everybody has conventions, you know. And I didn't really want to have it near where I live because I live here, you know. I'd rather do it in a different place. Texas, depending on when you pick, you know, could have decent weather, you know, unless it freezes. Apparently Texas freezes over in the summer and stuff. According so decent weather, especially October. I'm told that October weather in Texas is very, very nice. I have a couple people, especially Penguin Butt and Danny, that are both from Texas, and they're actually fairly close to our location. So and Penguin Butt works for me and crap, so it's very convenient for me to have her literally at ground zero, where she can help coordinate some of these things and go in person and take pictures of the venue and let me know if it looks like it'd be a good fit. She can go talk to people and stuff, you know, so it makes it very convenient in that sense, from a logistical standpoint as well. So there were a few different deciding factors into the Texas thing. I've only been to Texas a couple times, so I don't mind going there again. So anyway, it sounded like it'd be fun and cool, you know. Is it near the Tangier Outlet Mall? I think it is. I looked at a map of it. Yeah. Texas does freeze over in the summer. I live 85 miles from the Humane Society near where you live and have to travel to Texas to meet you. Sorry, dude. Sorry. This is the way it works. All right. Do you think it's the DM's job to assemble the proper group for the campaign? Well, it depends. It depends on how much ownership you want to take over the game. I am probably not going to run a game for a group of people that I didn't have a say in assembling. Because yeah, unless I'm getting paid for it, like that's a little bit of a different story. But if it's just a group that I'm running to have fun because I want to, I probably want to have a say over who's in that group, and I want to be able to help choose them and pick them and stuff like that. And I want to be able to have a say in who stays and who goes, because I tend to own my groups more. I have some ownership stake in them, and yeah, I'm like the leader, you know. Not all groups might work that way, you know, but I don't know. Is the DM's job? I wouldn't say it's the DM's job, but I would definitely say it is in the DM's best interest to have a very active voice in who is in the group. I would definitely say that for sure. Thank you so much, Morena, for the $10 tip. I appreciate that. You are very welcome. Happy to answer your question. And Chad Meister, thank you for the Prime, dude. I appreciate that. According to Chris Perkins, Wild Beyond the Witchlight explores Domain of Delight, opposite of a Domain of Dread, letting you get from levels 1 to 8 without ever rolling initiative. Doesn't sound like a game I want to play in. What are your thoughts on throwing out an entire pillar of the game for a campaign? Well, I think I just gave you my thoughts. Doesn't sound like a game I want to play in. Are you freaking kidding me? I love combat. That's why I play D&D. Are you freaking kidding me? If we throw out combat, the game looks like 90% of the Twitch D&D streams, where you wouldn't even know it was D&D, except that they're streaming under the D&D category, because all they do is talky, and you never have any combat almost in 90% of them that I've seen. And exploration, negligible and stuff. It's just, let's just sit around and talk and do funny voices and stuff because, hey, that's what Critical Role did and they're super successful. So we should do the same thing and maybe we'll be famous and rich too. Whee! So I think cutting out an entire pillar of D&D is not a good thing. I don't know that would work for many players who enjoy combat. Now, that said, if your players hate combat and they don't want anything to do with it, then maybe they would love it. But it is not a game I want to play in. It does not appeal to me whatsoever. And try to be funny. Yes, and try to be funny. That's a component too. Let's try to be funny too. Yeah. Sounds like a South Park in that mini rant. I don't like puzzles. I hate puzzles. I will run puzzles occasionally for my players, and usually I take puzzles from Layer Magazine too. I literally did. The last puzzle I ran, I took from Layer Magazine because I did not want to create it. I just wanted to use one that was already written. We have puzzles coming out in an upcoming issue that are amazing. One of our writers, Claire Martin, I just reviewed her puzzles. I just reviewed her puzzles the other day, and they are really, really cool. Those are going to be coming out in a future issue. I think the September issue. I think, yeah, they were for the September issue. So those will be coming out in September. Oh, they were so good. So good. Ah, thanks. A free rant. Oh, it's good. Yeah, I don't want to play in a D&D game without combat. That sounds like a horrible way to spend my evening. I would attack somebody. I'd have to attack somebody. You put me in a D&D game without combat, I'll start a fight. I will start a fight. Get the level 1 to 8 without rolling initiative. Not if Luke's in the game. I will make sure we're rolling initiative. I will make darn sure of it. Yeah, I won't be getting that book. Is that a book that's coming out? Is that literally a book that's coming out? Is that something they announced? I won't be buying that book. I'm a sucker for the alt covers, but I'll probably still buy the book. I'm such a sucker for that crap. I'm such a sucker for it. Keith says, I was in a game where 2 players hijacked the session so they could talk about one player's fifis. I don't know what that means. Worst D&D experience ever. If we're getting free rants, and then Onyxire says, I think that means chat knows Luke very well, including what buttons to push. I'm sure some folks know which ones to push. Yeah. Oh, fifis equals feelings? Oh, okay. Oh God, no! No! Barf! Oh my gosh! Dude! One of the worst, stupidest game experiences I've ever had. I was the dungeon master. I was a player in the game. The dungeon master literally went around the table and he asked everyone, please explain how your character is feeling. Like, this is stupid. You know what my character's feeling? Like, I don't want to have to express my feelings verbally. I should be role-playing my feelings at the game table. That's how my character's feeling. Like, oh my gosh. Like, if you're sad, role-play it. Don't sit there and tell me, well, you know, Lucius right now is feeling very upset because in his backstory, he was betrayed by his brother. And now, observing how that goblin betrayed the other goblins by squealing on his foes, that has really upset me now. And it's reminded me of things that have happened in my past. And so I'm really feeling really upset right now. And I'm kind of upset at the goblin for betraying his companions, even though it's helping us. And so, yeah, you can see me kind of trembling right now. And I'm sort of like getting a little vivid, and I'm kind of like sort of, more or less kind of like sort of, yeah, feeling really upset right now. I thought that was the lamest moment in a game I've ever had. Go around the table and tell us how you're feeling. It's not that you shouldn't role play your feelings. It's not that like having characters with feelings is bad. It's not that showing your feelings is bad. It's the way that it was implemented. It's like, that's not the way to implement it. Don't tell me to tell my character's feeling. The expectation should be that I am role playing my feelings through my words, through my actions. I might even role play my feelings through my own personal body movements as I'm, role playing my character at the table. If I'm, so that is the much better way to do it than to go around the table and be like, tell us how you're feeling. Oh my gosh, give me a break. Which leads me to another rant, by the way. Have you guys noticed in so many, especially on Twitch, I notice a lot. I've noticed it in some players. Not my players do it. I don't know if my players do it. There isn't, dungeon masters do it. I've really noticed it with dungeon masters on some of the Twitch games that we've rated. There is a massive overuse of two phrases, sort of and kind of. We need to like exile those expressions from our vocabulary. Well, you know, you kind of see this rock coming down the mountainside, and it's sort of like moving of its own volition. And you guys are kind of wondering, you know, how it could possibly be coming at you like that. It's like, stop using kind of and sort of. Please stop using those expressions. It's like every other sentence is like kind of and sort of. And I've players do this to some extent too when they're describing their character or stuff like that. They'll use kind of and sort of. If those expressions are I don't know if it's just me, if my ears key in on it, but there is a way overuse of those expressions. It needs to stop. It's really, really bad. I can't stand that. Yeah. The mods have marked it. They have absolutely marked it. Oh, that original question was from Ed too. Ed, you knew that would trigger me too about that domain of delight. You knew. Well, that's the thing. It's got to be part of the trend toward like new style of play that has less combat and has more talky. You know. I mean, they're just yeah. That is not a trend I'm going to be getting on anytime soon. They've totally marked that in the sheet. Oh, it's part of one of the things. It's the value of watching yourself in a video. You watch yourself as a game master and you see what you do and you observe yourself and you analyze yourself, and then you see the things that you do that aren't good, the things that you should stop doing. One of the things that I'm trying to improve upon is my use of filler words like There have been like outtakes, especially of my live streams, where I'll make a YouTube video out of it, and I noticed myself saying way too much, and I'm like, I got to get rid of those filler words. That is not good presentation. Like, that needs to come out. Same thing when I'm dungeon mastering. Those filler words need to come out. It's better to have a pause where you say nothing to collect your thoughts rather than to be like, well, you know what I mean? So also, I overused the term, you know what I mean? That is something else I've observed that I do too much of. So when I'm being conscious about it, I try to limit the use of filler words and you know what I mean, because I've noticed that I do that too much and I don't like it. But it's hard to break those habits, I will say. Oh, Penguin Butt. Penguin Butt's leaving! No, Penguin Butt's leaving us. Penguin Butt, I know your boss. I could convince him to extend your deadline. What's your deadline, Penguin Butt? Which one of your tasks is about to be due? I can tell you. like I can just change the due date. I think she's already left. Oh man. All right. I think we should actually wrap it up anyway. I think that's probably good. Penguin Butt packing in the towel is probably a sign that I'm way over anyway. We're way over. Oh wait. Yep, I think we're done. Okay, let's raid somebody. Oh, I have a cat. That's not my cat. There's little guy. Little guy. What do you think of having Arabelle in Curse of Strahd as one of Strahd's enemies? I don't remember who Arabelle is. Have you ever had her as Strahd's enemy? I don't remember who she is, so I'm not qualified. I don't remember who she is. I'm not qualified to answer. Sorry. That was probably why she's the girl you saved from the boat. Oh, the Vistani girl. Yes. The Vistani girl. Yeah. I don't know. I saw your question, by the way, and I didn't have a response to it, which is why it didn't get answered. I don't know, dude. One of Straw's enemies? She's like gonna be the future leader of the Vistani. My players didn't like her. My players thought she was messed up, and they thought that she was trouble. She's gonna be the future leader of the Vistani. And so she would help the players. You could do that. You could have her be one of like the NPC helper as opposed to the other ones. And then maybe some of the Vistani who are not okay with the status quo would help the characters. You could do that. I think that would kind of work. You'd have to implement something that would get the players to like her though. At least the way that she's presented in the book and the way that I role played her, my players all thought that she was trouble. She was going to be future trouble in the Vistani world. So those are some quick thoughts on it. All right, we're done. We're gonna end this here. Let's find somebody to raid on Twitch. Where is that? I have to browse the categories. What is that cat doing? Yeah, I don't have like, you know, good answers to all questions, you know. Sorry. All right, let's find somebody to raid over here. Woo! This is the D&D category. Polarium, thank you for this. Thank you for the tier 1, dude. I appreciate that. Let's vibe and look at some Magic the Gathering. Okay, let's not vibe. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Let's vibe. I don't know what that means. I am not that young to understand that terminology. Second star show. Ooh, hey, they have minis. They have a mini cam. We should raid these people. Second star show. Let's raid those folks. What does it mean to let's vibe? I don't know what that means. Where am I going? Where am I going? Raid channel. There we go. Second star show. They are live. It is not a rerun. Okay, here we go. It means mostly music. Really? Really? I'm glad I didn't go there then. My daughters explained it to me. Okay, cool. Here's our raid. Let's go. Raid, 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 raid. Raid! I'll see you guys over there. Show them some love. Be nice to them. Get them to TPK.